She can put away a large pizza by herself. He's allergic to cheese. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, buckle up, sports fans, because tonight you get to watch the worst team in the NFL. Hey, welcome to Maggie and Perloff. What a
Wait,
sale.
which one?
I know. The fact you have to ask is funny, but the worst team in the NFL is the Carolina Panthers. They're the worst. And maybe not as bad as Nancy Kerrigan. Thank you, Maddie. But they're the worst and also the most painful because they made this massive trade, Perloff, to go up and get Bryce Young, who everyone loved watching in college, but I know people like myself had reservations and concerns about Bryce Young. And to his credit, he hasn't missed a lot of games. What he missed, like basically a game and a half with an injury, not like Anthony Richardson, who's double his size, but is out with an injury. But this was looking like a big-time mistake because you gave away valuable pieces of your franchise in order to get Bryce Young. He is struggling. It looks like you could be gifting the Chicago Bears a top 3 pick because you're so bad. We already know the coach and the owner are not getting along. The difficult conversations. Now you got an injury to Brian Burns, but that's going to be hopefully temporary. Everything about this, the general manager got oopsie-doop by Brian Burns at the end of training camp. All of a sudden, a week before the season starts, he started to hold in, totally held them hostage. It's just dire in Carolina.
Well, okay, that is all true. This has been a terrible ownership situation. He's probably been meddling way too much. They probably shouldn't have fired their coach. They've made all sorts of mistakes. But when you say worst team in the NFL, I do not believe they will end up with the worst record. And I'll tell you why. The incentive to actually play at the end of the season is a rare thing in the NFL. So they're not going to get the number 1 pick because they already traded away.
Yeah.
There are teams that are going to be gunning for Caleb Williams. And do you really think the Panthers can be so bad that they give the Bears a number 1 pick? I think the easy choice now is the New York Giants. How can Tommy DeVito be on an NFL field?
He's
just look at the quarterbacks win. Tommy DeVito is the Giants quarterback. How are they going to win an NFL game?
Okay, but that's a snapshot of a team that's been ravaged by injuries at the quarterback position. That's almost forgivable because nobody thinks Tommy DeVito is a NFL caliber quarterback, as you said. This is Carolina's terrible with the number 1 overall pick. This is the quarterback of the future for them, and they look this bad.
But they would kill the Giants with Tommy DeVito. I don't think they're going to be dedicated enough to winning. Yeah, I do think they would kill them. They beat CJ Stroud 2 weeks ago.
Well, that was their Super Bowl first.
But that's a thing. Motivation. They have it. They're going to be playing all out at the end of the season for Frank Reich because they know they don't have a draft pick. They don't want to be fully embarrassed. Other teams are going to be losing full out. Caleb Williams and Drake May, it's super important to these franchises, and you know that. So I think motivation, I'm doing the money line on the Panthers the last 3 weeks. I don't even care who they play.
Here's the news flash about this. They've been trying this whole time. It's not like they're not trying now, and they just absolutely stink.
They sort of been trying. They easily could have gone to Andy Dalton and won some of these games. They know they're developing Bryce Young. But Bryce Young is, until last week, had actually been on uptick statistically. He's been playing a little better. The problem is not Bryce.
2 pick sixes last week.
The problem is not Bryce Young. The problem, they did not build any offense around him. Their number 1 receiver is Adam Thielen, who was a castaway from the Vikings, who's too old to be a number 1 receiver and really never was a number 1 receiver. So they have no weapons around him, can't run. Their offensive line is a disaster. None of this is on Bryce Young. 0 of it. There's nothing he can do. No quarterback, except for Andy Dalton, could do anything with the situation. It's a really bad team. That was their mistake. Not that they drafted a quarterback number 1, that they didn't give him any weapons at all. They should have invested in wide receiver. The Bears tried this with DJ Moore, who we'll see tonight. The Panthers gave away DJ Moore. They need a number 1 receiver to help Bryce Young. There's nothing around him.
Right, and then didn't do anything at the deadline. I don't know if there was a move there to be made, but they talked a big game about wanting a receiver. Didn't do anything at the deadline, and they're going to end up doing the thing that maybe works, 30% of the time, which is, and this is my prediction, this offseason, they're going to spend like gangbusters in free agency. Yep. They're going to overpay. Now, it's worked out for Jacksonville where they got some nice pieces, but that also is because Trevor Lawrence is, I think, a really great elite quarterback, so that helps resurrecting careers like Evan Ingram and stuff like that. But they're going to do that thing. And because they do things that bad teams do. They do things that bad teams do. One, you trade up and you overpay to get up to number one when we're not even sure they knew who they wanted at the time. Was it going to be Stroud? Was it going to be Bryce Young? They didn't laser focus. This is our guy that we must have. But they traded up and then said, we'll figure it out after. That's desperation, which leads to bad decisions. And then they're going to do that other thing that bad teams do, which is probably overspend in free agency. And is it going to work? Who knows? It worked for Jacksonville. It's not working for Denver. It's a mixed bag when you go all in on free agency.
I mean, remember that video where one of the assistant coaches, Josh McCown, said, I can't wait till CJ Stroud gets here to Carolina and to play some basketball?
Yes, he said that to Stroud.
If they had taken Stroud, Stroud would not have been great in this situation either. Who's Stroud throwing to? It would have been, and who's
Stroud
blocking?
throwing to now when he looks great?
Well, he has Nico Collins. He looks great.
Okay. It's not exactly Justin Jefferson.
But the Texans offense around him looks way better than the Panthers offense, and they can run the ball a little bit. The Panthers, Bryce Young's been bad, but look who's been good there. Who's actually
That's why
scares
they're
you
the
at
worst team
all.
in the league. And that's why I think it's hands down worst team. And I'm not really that excited about their future either, which is the second part of this.
Watch at the end of the year. I guarantee they will not be the number one pick. Well, they will not be the number one worst team because the Bears will get their pick. This is not a situation. There's going to be real tanking, real process going on here.
Well, the Arizona Cardinals are about to start Kyler Murray. Now, they're the team who would have the number one overall pick if the season ended today, and they're about to start their $45 million quarterback coming off an ACL. He could give you a couple wins, knock Arizona off the top spot. I mean, this is going to go down as an all-time bonehead move. Unless Bryce Young becomes incredible, it is always going to look like they messed up because they gave the Bears that pick.
Yeah, I think that's way premature to say that. First of all, Bryce Young might be a good NFL quarterback. If Bryce Young is a Pro Bowler, is it go down as an all-time?
Is it a real Pro Bowler or is it an alternate fifth person down the depth chart Pro Bowler?
If Bryce Young throws 30 touchdowns and 10 picks at one season,
he's the number one overall pick. Should we be talking Super Bowl? That would be the expectation for every other quarterback taken number one overall. Is
that the expectation for Kyler Murray?
I mean, yes, I think so.
I don't know about that.
Well,
but okay.
I think that number one overall pick, isn't that supposed to mean something? Isn't that supposed to mean the expectations? They should be higher for you than any other person in the league.
I think. I mean, you give Bryce Young no chance to be success here in the NFL.
I'm not liking what I see.
Oh, okay. I think it's way too early. I think the Bryce Young story has not been written by any means. I'm curious how he does tonight. The Bears do not have a good defense, but they added Montez Sweat. Can he show a little something? You watched last week and you bet on the Panthers.
Well,
you have to understand that was his worst game. He looked pretty good against the Texans the week before.
No, I remember that
solid.
game.
Solid. So he's had some solid games for a 5'9" rookie. That's not bad.
Do you want to go to PFF, which I know, people love PFF. Sometimes they don't like it. Bryce Young's offensive grade, 34th out of 36 qualified quarterbacks. His passing grade is 33rd out of 35 possible quarterbacks.
Yeah, no doubt. They're 1-7.
They stink.
Yeah, of course they think they're 1-7. But I tell you, they're going to have a brief turnaround and win 3 games this season.
Well,
it's going to happen, and that's not going to get you the number one pick.
I don't think it's going to happen after the Chicago game tonight when they face Dallas. Something tells me it's not. That's not when the turnaround's going to happen.
Ooh, Dallas lost to Arizona. So.
And then that's true. And then at Tennessee.
That's a possible W.
And what if Will Levis outduels Bryce Young?
Easily could.
I know. It's going to make it look even worse.
But then keep going.
At Tampa Bay, who knows? At New Orleans.
You cannot underestimate how bad Tampa Bay is.
They will lose to New Orleans in the Superdome. They will.
Okay.
And then Atlanta, Green Bay, at Jacksonville, Tampa. Listen,
so Atlanta, Green Bay, and another at Tampa. I'm telling you, these teams are really bad. And they're tanking too, some of these. Green Bay, but at that point of the season, might be all in on a quarterback. Who knows? And Atlanta, what's Atlanta? Carolina, do not write them off. I'm telling you, this team is going to get red hot and end up with a 3-14 record.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So congratulations. We're going to be delighted tonight to a Carolina-Chicago match.
Poor Al Michaels. Another dud.
Okay. I'm sick of being sorry for Al Michaels. I love Al Michaels. He's the best.
Apparently not.
No, but I'm sick of this. It's one of the best jobs in sports for a broadcaster. You work a couple days a week. You get this massive audience. You get to have fun. Al Michaels always makes it tongue-in-cheek, and with the gambling references and all that stuff. It's not like he's out there digging ditches. So he's got to call this crappy football game. I'm watching it, and I'm paying Amazon to watch this. Like, not only am I watching it, I'm paying my money to watch it.
He's being paid to be there.
Exactly.
Look at these games he's had to do. He had to do Bears Commanders. Oh, he did a 19-8 Chiefs over the Broncos game. What are you doing here? This is torture.
Listen, Al
he's getting the Bucks. He's getting the Titans. He's getting all the bad teams.
He's had a good run. He got to call some of the great moments in sports history. Obviously, Miracle on Ice. He did Malcolm Butler at the goal line. He called a game through an earthquake. I mean, he's had a really memorable, amazing career. He's basically maybe the best of my lifetime, pillar to post. And I don't feel bad for him. You get a couple crappy football games. You're still getting paid $1 gajillion. It's fine.
Look, in wrestling, you become a mega star, and then towards the end of your career, you got to put over young talent.
Yep.
You're getting lower on the card. You're not the main event anymore. Maybe you're mid-card. Maybe you're opening the show. It's okay.
No chance that Al Michaels puts over Kirk Herbstreit, though. He will not do that.
Not happening.
He will leave Kirk out to dry.
Yeah, not happening.
By the way,
entertainment important to only some.
That's true.
He gets Bengals at Ravens next week, so that's a little bit of redemption for the
What
Thursday.
does it matter? At this point to Al Michaels, it's all just a game. He's done the big calls.
I think
Called
there's
the NBA Finals. He's done it all.
To be honest, if Al Michael wants to blame anybody, he needs to blame the NFL fans, because it's our obsession with football that has allowed the NFL to get away with putting on these crap games on Thursday.
And pay 'em
Because
billions.
regardless of what the game is, Americans will get on their couch or go to their bars and they will watch these crap games, which means the NFL has no impetus, no motivation to say, you know what, Al Michaels deserves better Thursday night football games. So he really has us to blame.
Well,
Sorry,
it's funny,
Al
too.
Michaels. I'm sorry this happened to you.
I think it has something. It's something in a boardroom where the NFL does not like the Amazon executives and they love the NBC executives. Because Sunday Night Football. Why does Sunday Night Football get this all-star schedule every year? ESPN finally caught up and thought they had a good Monday night schedule, and it's been okay. But Thursday night, they're putting redheaded stepkids here.
They always have. It's never been like great compelling matchups on Thursday nights, right?
Oh yeah, it used to be,
divisional,
Jacksonville and Tennessee used to play pretty much every Thursday night in some form or other. Color Rush, remember the Color Rush?
I do remember that. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Listen, here's the thing about Al Michaels. He was talking to the New York Post. He's not retiring. Okay, so he's coming back. He's choosing the punishment now. Like, you know what you're in for. These games are crap. You're there on the call to call a 9-8, 19-8 game. Al also could step aside. I don't want him to. I still think he's great.
What's the matter with you, Maggie?
What
is the matter?
Aside and let a younger person come in and have a shot. If it's such a burden to call crappy Carolina versus Chicago, and he's not saying that. We're projecting that on him.
I'm still a little mad at you for last night. I have to be honest.
About what?
About our discussion about another older broadcaster who just is the best.
Well, Okay.
I
think he's the best too. I'm just saying.
Maggie,
I'm with Perloff on this, by the way.
Yeah, the Knicks played the Spurs, and Wembanyama in the Garden, and Hubie Brown his first game for ESPN this year, and I was thrilled, so excited. And Maggie's like, maybe, Hubie's had his time.
He's 90.
No.
Straight up,
So what?
90 years old.
I want Hubie Brown at 105, telling me RJ Barrett's field goal percentage and why he's having a better season than last season.
Listen, I love someone in the painted area. I love Hubie. He taught me a lot about basketball as a fan. He's 90. Can we give someone else a shot here? Hubie Brown is calling games when they were black and white.
What's the difference if he's 90? If he's still the best analyst, who cares?
I'm just saying.
He's the only one who actually made sense of what the Knicks were trying to do on offense the entire season. He finally, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what the Knicks were trying to do. Hubie seemed to nail it. It looked like he could go coach on the sideline right now. Even if he's 90, if he's the best one, he's way better than certain other broadcasters. That's all I will say.
100% agreed.
I mean, name names. I'm just kidding. He
Richard Jefferson. I don't care.
Yes.
But how about Richard Jefferson might be getting better at this? Like if he had a couple more reps that weren't getting taken away by 90-year-old QB.
Isn't he on the Nets broadcast on Yes?
Yeah, he's getting his reps. I mean, he's been doing games on ESPN, ABC, and look, he's still, I'm not going to get into the Richard Jefferson thing.
Yeah.
QB Brown is the GOAT when it comes to basketball color analysts. Again, he's telling me field goal percentage. He's saying this team is taking too many threes. This team's trying to take less threes. Like his analysis
EJ, you need QB Brown to tell you field goal percentages?
Yes,
It's like
absolutely.
EJ and I have agendas.
Yeah.
Oh, you go. I see.
He's telling the story of the game in a way that most of these broadcasters, I think, have lost. A lot of these guys think it's about themselves and not the games. And I think that Hubie has always made it about the teams you're playing. I feel like for a national broadcast,
Yes.
if you're following your team and he's doing your game, you feel like, okay, this person is prepared.
Yes.
They actually care about
You're
my
right.
team.
He never makes it about himself. Like Van Gundy might or Mark Jackson
That's what
or
I
those
said.
guys with the taglines and the catchphrases and the Dick Vitale and the shtick and all that. But at the same time, I mean, 90.
He's 100% in, and I agree. I'm not going to call out Jeff Van Gundy, but I'd rather have someone talking about the tempo the Knicks are trying to play at than Jeff Van Gundy talking about Wendy's with his co-host with Mark Jackson. It was fun, but they don't seem like they're 100% into the game, where Hubie is old school. He's all about the game. Also, he's very insightful. I was actually surprised. That guy has not lost his fastball. And, he was with Breen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Breen.
Yeah, that's a good team. He's Breen. It brings the youthful energy.
It was a
65.
It was a 25-point game, and Hubie Brown was still into the game.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
You want to get that from Jeff Van Gundy.
Chance of overrated raining down on Victor Wembanyama. Welcome to the NBA, where the fans are a little harsher in New York.
I feel so bad. That comment he made about the Garden being smaller than he expected got blown so out of proportion and was so out of context. And I'm a Knicks fan, but I don't know if Knicks fans took that to heart.
He was talking physically about the arena.
Right. Also, he's 7'5". Like, everything is smaller to him.
And it's his second language. Can we give them a little bit of grace?
When he first thing he said was, "This is incredible." That was literally the first words that came out of my mouth. Before he said it's a little smaller than I
people
expected.
were mad about that because he did say it's the basketball capital of planet Earth.
I know.
So what do they expect?
Oh, there was agendas trying to make it Wemby versus the Garden, some kind of disrespect. And I don't know if that's why the overrated chance. Look, it's New York. It's Knicks fans. They might have got at him anyway.
Yeah.
But I was a little annoyed at that because I didn't think he deserved that.
I felt a little bit of optimism about possibly winning my Rookie of the Year bet. If Wemby's the Rookie of the Year, I have to drive to San Antonio. I saw a defensive strategy that could knock this tall guy out last night. Just hit him in the ribs every single play.
Yeah.
And somebody's got now, Maggie. I need someone else to step up to be Rookie of the Year. There's no one. He's still going to be Rookie of the Year, but I did not see a guy who's there yet. He looked young last night.
This is the only chance you have, I think, is that Wemby's going to get more national games than any of the other rookies like Scoot or Brandon Miller. And if he keeps laying eggs on these big national games, maybe you've got a shot.
I hope so. Or that the Spurs shut him down at a certain point. Think about the future. I do not want anyone to get injured. So the second leading scorer right now is Chet Holmgren at 16.8 points per game. I know that's kind of weird that he's in the Rookie of the Year race, but Chet could get it, maybe. No.
855.
If you squint.
855-212-4CBS. No, I would start planning your route right now.
I
Wanna
know.
go a northern route, a little more of a
know.
southern route. What landmarks do you want to see along the way?
You want to see the
Graceland?
Appalachian Mountains, maybe?
You know what did
Or
hurt me
Midwest?
yesterday? That Victor Wembanyama had dinner with Tom Brady the night before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was. I mean, apparently they kind of ran into each other.
No, Michael Rubin set it up.
Oh, Michael Rubin set up, of course.
And then
Fanatics.
Brady, to his credit, he sent out an Instagram post where someone photoshopped so Brady was the same height as Victor Wembanyama because he didn't like the original picture where he looked like a little kid standing next to Victor Wembanyama. Dude is tall. We all can agree on that.
I think Victor Wembanyama might be the coolest person in sports right now. Like, think about that. Like, every athlete, every celebrity wants to take pictures with him.
Yeah, but
Britney
people
Spears
also
got hurt trying to take a picture with him.
But people also love taking pictures with tall people because it's so funny. Like, I remember Yao Ming came to Sports Illustrated and he was excellent. And we did an interview and he was like, listen, I'm just going to take one picture with everyone here. I'm not going to take pictures with every single person. And I totally got it. So we did one big group. Well, I got my own, but we got one big group shot with Yao.
That's so fascinating. Is it Wembanyama the interest to have the cool photo? But I think it's the French thing. It helps out too. I think he is super, and he actually is really cool. Shohei's pretty cool.
Cooler than
Shohei? I think something about the international aspect of it adds to the intrigue.
Yeah, there's a little mystery.
I mean, he dresses really fly. I mean, he's good with fashion, which again, being from France is not surprising. I mean, I really. He seems to be the guy that everybody wants to gravitate towards. He's
he's like
the modern day Will Chamberlain to me.
Who's his competition?
Does LeBron count? Because I think if LeBron walks into a room, everybody wants a picture with him.
Yes.
I think other athletes aren't as enamored with LeBron because he's been around for so long now. A lot of them have their pictures with LeBron.
LeBron also has kind of moved a little bit to dad mode, which you can still be cool and be a dad. I mean, but like he's kind of, you know, he's like.
I know it's his teammate, but I mean, he broke the freaking scoring record. And Anthony Davis couldn't get out of his chair. Take a picture with that.
Because basically his hip needs to be replaced.
Yeah, it's not easy for Anthony Davis to get up and down.
Yeah, that's he's saving energy.
But that's a great
all right, when we
question.
come back, top 5 coolest athletes in sports right now. Everyone back of the envelope.
Everyone back of the envelope. Let's do it.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Maggie and Perloff. Also coming up, one very good to great NFL team is going to get left out of the playoffs. Who is it going to be in the AFC, obviously? Who is it going to be? We'll tell you. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Oh, man, this is a tough assignment. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. EJ brought up an interesting point last segment. Is Victor Wembanyama the coolest athlete in sports right now?
At dinner with Brady two
At
nights
dinner with
ago.
Brady. He's French. He dresses well. He's very skilled for a 19-year-old 7'5" dude. But is he top 5? So we're doing, what's the assignment here? We're doing top 5. Do we include Wemby or is...
Wemby's on my top 5. I mean, back of the envelope here.
Okay.
We're just doing off the top of our head. I mean, I've got my 5. Do we have a drum roll or something like that, man? You can work on that for a second. Now, can I do an outside looking in and also ran? I think that if we had done this 6 months ago, 8 months ago, I think Ja Morant is probably on everybody's list. But because of some of the off the field stuff, off the court, and he's currently suspended right now, that's not that cool. Right. Getting caught at the strip club is not that awesome.
No.
Waving a gun around on Instagram live. We don't condone that here on the Maggie and Perloff show. So I think he's outside looking in, but I do think he would have made this list.
I don't know. I don't know if Ja Morant is. There's other young must-see players. He was in that group, but he doesn't get the. You don't have to see Ja Morant on TV like you had to see Wemby last night.
Well, I mean, is it exciting? Yeah. He's got the different color hair and, you know,
I bet you if
the
you're
dunks.
It's like, oh, my God, the Grizzlies are on TNT tonight. I don't think they ever hit that level. I think he, because... Listen, you have to be really young and really new in the NBA to really get the attention. Ja had his moment. I'm not sure he's still like Wemby right now.
Okay, but I don't know if you have to be must-see to be the coolest person. Like, we're talking about vibes here, aren't we, for the most part?
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who had a signature shoe line coming out with Nike, which is usually kind of the tell-all.
Well, I think,
but
in the league.
I think your description was even better. When this guy walks into the room, other athletes want his signature. True. Like, what is, and so you have to be red hot right now to make this list. Not all, you don't get any credit for being around for years and being cool, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I've got one person on my list who definitely has been around for years. Am I going first here?
Yeah,
on this one?
You got your list.
Okay. Number 5, SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just got the Kardashian Skims, ad campaign. Handsome dude, making Oklahoma City cool. Was a great college player. SGA is 5. I'm definitely going to need the drum roll. It's definitely going to help out. We did a little production on this segment. Number 4 on my list, someone who has been around for a long time, Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One race car driver. This dude is cool. British guy, dated stars on and off, but now that Formula One has gotten this new second life, Lewis Hamilton is really getting his due in this country.
But isn't there some Formula One driver, and forgive me, that is on fire right now?
Max Verstappen? Give me Lewis Hamilton.
Did he just set this record? Well, you to say F1 right now, there's one driver everyone's talking about. It's not Lewis Hamilton. I know
Verstappen?
See, that's why he's super cool. He's all-time cool, but is he of the moment?
Well, this is my Dr. J Lifetime Achievement Award to Lewis Hamilton, who's still an active athlete. Number 3 on my list is Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow, we call him Joe Cool. I don't know how cool he actually is in real life. He might be kind of corny. It turns out Jamar Chase was picking out his outfits. But I will go with Joe Burrow as number 3. 2 on my list is Wemby. He's who dresses this nicely for a guy who's 7'5", very cool, good command of the English language, has some swag, obviously. And then number 1 for me, Ohtani. I still think Ohtani, even though he's got the second elbow injury, I still think Ohtani is the big draw. He's got a mystery. Seems like he's I don't know, more to him than meets the eye. Give me Ohtani.
Okay. All right.
How much crossover did you and I have?
Well, I have Ohtani on my list, but I'm taking him out because there are guys because you have him already. Okay. I don't want to mention because there are other guys I want to get on there.
Okay, go ahead.
Do we have to go 1 through 5 in that order?
Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, 5 to 1.
Okay. Number 5, I'm going to go with the hockey player Connor Bedard. He is the guy, he's 18 and setting all these records. He's the only 18-year-old to score at this level. I feel like when he enters an arena or enters a room, if you know anything about hockey, he is the guy. He could be the next, I'm not going to say Wayne Gretzky, but he is really,
Does he have drip, though?
Yeah, Connor Bedard. But he walks in, he's like Wemby. He walks in a room like everybody's like, what's he doing? Where's he going? Even more than the other Connor, or the McGovern kid. He is a huge short
McDavid, you mean?
Yeah.
Cover. Oh, my God.
Center for the Jets?
And the other, but Connor Bedard, everyone in the NHL says it's on right now. He's getting huge crowds.
He doesn't know who Pearl Jam is. So everyone walks in, except if it's Eddie Vedder, then he's going to have no idea who
I think the fact that he's 18 is very fascinating to people. Okay. Number 4, I'm going to go with Caleb Williams because I want to have somebody in college football. And
I thought about him.
He is actually a little bit been there, done that.
It's a little exposed right now, but that's all right.
I think 2 years ago it easily would have been him when he was at Oklahoma. I looked at Marvin Harrison Jr., but Ohio State's offense has been so slow paced this year. Once Marvin Harrison gets to the NFL, he will be this guy.
Okay.
But right now, Caleb Williams. Okay, number 3, I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the Lions. He is getting so much hype, and everybody loves him. He's a St. Brown, so he has this crazy backstory. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the emerging star in the NFL that
he's the third coolest athlete in the NFL in the sports. Rather.
I was either going to do Amon-Ra St. Brown or Puka Nacua. Those are I did want to do an NFL wide receiver. You did Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
But Shea is an all NBA second teamer.
Yeah, but
Puka Nacua, he's like a fantasy darling.
Puka Nacua is
he's a system guy.
Wait, Puka Nacua? We're not all into Puka Nacua? I'm so sorry. I thought that was a given.
But coolest? I don't know. Okay.
Puka Nacua? Have you seen the interview with that guy?
Dude, Tyson Badgett's dad is cooler than Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua? Oh, I'm totally me and my friends love Puka Nacua. We talk about him all the time.
Because of fantasy. Okay.
Okay. By the way, I guess I'm not putting Oscar Thompson on there because
you got dunked on last
number 2, I had Shohei.
Yeah.
Number
no explanation
1,
needed.
To me, the guy who, when he walks in the room in NBA circles, there's one NBA player that I think everybody wants to watch. I still think it's Zion. I think Zion is the coolest guy. I think there's a reason Barack Obama went to see him play at Duke, and I think that magic is still there because you watch a Pelicans game, and everybody in the stadium, both teams are watching Zion at all times.
Interesting.
And by the way, mysterious absence last night from Zion. He was out for personal reasons.
I did not know that.
Was that why Mariah Mills was trending? I saw Mariah Mills was trending on Twitter.
There's a huge mystery around why he wasn't there last night. So Zion, I think, is the guy that in the NBA circles, everyone's still fascinated with.
Sorry, when the OnlyFans girl came and basically put all of his business out on the internet over the summer, I was like, not that cool.
Yeah, that didn't
Then he went down the rankings. Okay, well, you can think about your own list. We'll get back to coolest athletes. Peter Schwartz is here with some headlines. Good morning, Peter.
And good morning, Maggie. We'll start in Denver, where the Nuggets were clinging to a 3-point lead over the Warriors in the final second.
Reggie Jackson to win the game for Denver with 3.5 seconds to go at Ball Arena. Needs this free throw to do just that. Missed it. Rebound. They could tie it up with the 3. Paul over to Thompson. Got to shoot it. Oh, it fell out of his hands at the horn. And the Denver Nuggets sweep the 5-game homestand and remain undefeated at home.
That was Jason Kosmicki on Nuggets Radio. Nuggets over the Warriors 108-105. Head coach Michael Malone's team, another strong performance.
Couldn't be more proud of our group. I mean, I think 8-1 is our record, and we've played with a few other teams the most games in the NBA to this point. To be undefeated at home and to get off to the start that we've gotten off to is I couldn't be more proud of that group in there.
Nuggets a perfect 6-0 at home. Nikola Jokic, he's cool. He had 35 points and 13 rebounds.
To some.
To some.
In the horse racing community.
Oh.
The horse breeding community. I don't know.
Nikola Jokic is not cool because he doesn't care about being cool, right?
Well, maybe that's reverse.
That makes you cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all of a sudden cool because he cares about horse racing more than basketball.
I just think he would be cool if he was on the Knicks. Like
Very
well.
cool.
It would be
Yeah,
cool.
I'm sure that
That
would work out great.
Did you remember seeing him dance in the Serbian club?
Oh, yes.
That was something.
It's Tom Brady vibes.
It was Tom Brady
and
at Carnival.
vibes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Knicks, we go to Madison Square Garden where first overall pick Victor Wembanyama made his first appearance on Broadway, and it didn't go very well for him in the Spurs.
Brunson crosses the key, goes back out to the left elbow to kill some time. 8 seconds to go on the shot clock. Under 4, distant 3, drains it. 116-99 with 3:45 to go.
That was Don LaGreca on Knicks Radio. The Knicks beat the Spurs 126-105. Jalen Brunson, 25 points for the Knicks in his Madison Square Garden debut. For the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, just 14 points. How are those plans going for driving to San Antonio?
Better after last night.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think you're okay right now.
Well, still, he's the leading NBA rookie scorer by 3 points, 18.8. He's still doing well.
Yeah, I think you're going to be okay. I don't think he's going to win it.
Who's going to win him?
Really?
Not him.
Just you're taking the field.
I was taking the field, not him.
Hashtag
rooting,
not Wemby.
I'm rooting for him not to have to drive to San Antonio.
Chet Holmgren playing well, eligible.
Yeah.
Wait, hold
Oklahoma
on.
City Thunder.
Peter, you're rooting for Perloff not to drive to Wemby?
Not to drive. That's a long drive.
He wants to do
I
it.
like to drive, but that's a long drive.
Everyone has to be united, sending all the possible energy that Perloff does have to make
this
the
is like
trip.
Well, if he has to go, I said I would help drive.
Wait, this is like if somebody was rooting for, Carson Wentz. Like, we can't have this. We can't have this.
That's a long time in a car. And that's like
he wants no help. He's already turned down Bogish and you. He wants to do this solo mission. I'm speaking for you.
Well, yeah, I have a bunch of friends I want to see. You don't want to sit around and watch me visit my friends in Nashville.
Jim.
Other games in the NBA last night. Overtime, Kings over the Blazers 121-118. You had the Raptors over the Mavericks 127-116. The Nets beat the Clippers 193. The Sixers over the Celtics 106-103. Now to baseball. And the Angels named Ron Washington as their new manager. The 71-year-old Washington managed the Rangers for 8 seasons, including a pair of World Series appearances before resigning in 2014. Of course, there was a time when Washington was a coach for the A's, and that brings to mind the scene in Moneyball when Washington and GM Billy Beane come to Scott Hatteberg's house to tell him they want him to play first base.
Brunson crosses the key.
We want you to play first base for the Oakland A's.
Okay, well...
You don't know how to play first base.
That's right.
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
Hey, anything worth doing is. And we're going to teach you.
Washington.
Also, I know you guys were implying that I was being ageist because I said that, maybe it's time for Hubie Brown at 90 to move over for somebody else. But it's never been a better time to be an older person in this country. Ron Washington just got hired 71. You've got Hubie at 90. Al Michaels is not young. He's still, people feel bad for him that he has to call these bad games. Not to mention our politicians in this country. You can be old and do anything in this country.
I mean, 71 is like the new 30.
Exactly. 71 is honestly like the new 50.
I honestly would want an older manager for a baseball team because I'm sick of this analytic nonsense. Give me a guy that's got a feel for the game.
Oh, get out of here.
And get him in the dugout and let him manage with his gut. Like, I would take Joe Torre back in the Yankee dugout.
How to work for Buck.
Yeah,
I'd take Buck right now. I mean,
you could have him. Trust me.
He's available. I like Buck Showalter, but he's available.
Yeah. So.
You're like the bad guys in Moneyball. Feel for the game. You basically.
Yeah. See, I would have gotten fired by Billy V. I would have
you would have been the first guy fired.
Yeah, you're Art Howe.
Yeah.
Like that's because I'm just an old grizzly.
Billy's, he's a 5-tool player. He could do it all. You're fired.
You're fired. That's it. I don't. Who's
Al
that?
Michaels is
Who's
78.
that guy? The Phillies have decided that Bryce Harper will be the team's full-time first baseman. Harper made 36 starts at first this past season after Rhys Hoskins tore his ACL during spring training.
By the way, you know what that's all about. We all know secret. The subtext there. Mike Trout's coming to Philadelphia. They're not putting Harper back in there so they can trade for Mike Trout. No, this is not really interesting because it's my 12-year-old Andrew.
Hey, I figured out a way to get Bonds and Clemens. We don't have to give up that much.
Everyone thinks that they want to bring Trout home, and Harper being in the outfield would screw that up. So maybe this opens a spot.
I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, you guys like that?
I do.
Let's call WIP immediately.
No, that's where I got
a
it
great
from.
idea.
That's where I got it from. Everybody who is on WIP immediately said Mike Trout. The Philly fans are completely delusional, so I'm hoping this is true.
College basketball last night, number 10, Florida Atlantic opened their season with a 75-62 win over Loyola Chicago. And we'll close with hockey. We'll start in Las Vegas.
Right side, Pietrangelo shot blocked. Byfield broke his stick, and there to clear it down. Empty net. A goal! Andrzej Kopitar, the empty net goal for career goal number 400.
That was Nick Nixon on Kings Radio. The Kings over the Golden Knights 4-0. Also last night, the Senators beat the Maple Leafs 6-3, and in overtime, the Panthers over the Capitals 4-3.
I want to change my list, by the way.
Well, Michael Fry in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio said, Perloff, this is the worst list ever.
I'm going to put, I don't care what he says, I'm going to put Anthony Edwards on my list, too.
I think like that.
Yeah, he's cool.
I'm going to probably.
So who are you taking out?
Very good actor.
Caleb Williams.
The only cool person on his list.
Wait,
finally got one.
If the Lions go far in the playoffs, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the breakout star, and you guys are, once you get to know this dude, you don't think he's exciting? What is going on here? Do you guys watch NFL football? Amon-Ra St. Brown is an unstoppable
Nobody
force.
knows who Amon St. Brown, and nobody knows what he looks like. Half the people don't know how to say his name. You're saying he's the most famous, one of the most famous athletes?
Coolest athletes? By your definition, you're like, who is the athlete when other athletes walk in the room, they want to get a photo with him? Do you really think Amon-Ra St. Brown is that guy?
Well, no, he's not that guy, but he's so cool. He's so interesting, and he's such a great player that I think to be cool, you have to be on the way up. You can't get the guy after he peaks. So I think there's a lot of interest in Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Well, I think there's interest in his dad because his dad gave his kids these interesting names and was like some kind of bodybuilder, I guess. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, what do we know about him? USC, obviously.
Yeah.
And he can name all the wide receivers who went before him in the draft, and he's really good.
I mean, he's not. I don't know if he's the top 5 coolest wide receiver in the NFL.
I mean, Jamar Chase?
You got to put
Tyreek Hill.
I don't think these guys are going.
I was thinking of Hill, but I'm
I
not
don't
putting
think
Tyreek
Hill's
Hill
cool.
on there.
I don't think
Tyreek Hill's cool.
He's cool to watch,
Sunglasses,
but he's got a lot
super
going
fast.
on there.
Nah, we
He's
know
got
too
a lot
much
going-
about the bad stuff with Tyreek Hill.
I did think of Tyreek Hill, I'll be honest. I had to put in an NFL receiver. Who's the...
What about Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson
basically gave us the gritty.
I feel like he already peaked. I need somebody on the way up. Justin Jefferson 2 years ago, I would put on my list. I need a young ascending star. Who's the next guy?
Jordan Addison.
It would have been Garrett Wilson until Rodgers blew out his Achilles. He was the guy.
He's stuck in New York. That's one problem. All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm surprised you guys aren't more into this guy.
How about Messi? You have to have Messi on that.
Old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's still everybody gravitates towards.
But isn't there a young soccer star that is cool, quote unquote?
Yes,
there are lists behind the glass that we can get to.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. 855-212. Thank you, Peter. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. So much to do, including an NFL savior. We've got that for you in moments. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Got into a conversation about who's the coolest athlete right now. And Perloff is defending his list like it's a dissertation or like this is your PhD.
Well, you guys are laughing at me for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think we run in different sports circles because all my friends and I talk about is how cool Amon-Ra St. Brown is.
That's all you guys talk about?
We talk about guys like Anthony Edwards does get a lot of conversation. I should put him on.
Well, you were in a movie with him. That I get.
No, it's you got to be young and coming at. You have to be on the rise to be on this list, in my opinion. You can't do an established superstar as one of the coolest guys because it started with Wembanyama.
Yeah,
he's done nothing to earn this on the court. It's just this idea of what they might become that makes somebody really cool.
No, but I disagree. Yes, you have to be the next thing. You don't want to have too much overexposure because then we know too much about you. And the more we know, the less cool everyone becomes because we're just human beings. But I do think that you can get a little bit of Lifetime Achievement Award. Like I have Lewis Hamilton as 4th on my list because he's been around for a long time, Formula One driver who's British, but he's still impossibly cool. And so I think he deserves to be on the list as well.
I don't know if a 12-year-old is so fired up about Lewis Hamilton now. I think that young fans think about really young players. Wembanyama, to me, is the basis of this list, and he's done nothing to prove anything.
Do you think 12-year-olds outside of Detroit know who Amon-Ra St. Brown is?
Yeah. It's the NFL. Everybody knows every player in the NFL.
Justin Jefferson or something like that. RPC is in the chat with a very good question. Do cool people make lists?
That's a good point.
That's a mirror for
Justin
us.
Jefferson was cool 2 years ago. We know Justin Jefferson.
To be cool ourselves.
Yeah, he's old news at this point.
All right, EJ, quickly give us your list because you're a bit younger than us.
So, number 5, there are people that you guys missed that I cannot believe. So, 5, I had Shedeur Sanders. 4.
Oh, I thought about Shedeur. I did, but he's
watch.
limping around too much right now.
Oh, no,
the watch thing
everything
is cool.
is big. 4, Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
His World Cup performance last year, incredible. Everybody talking about it. International star. 3, Shohei Ohtani, which most of you guys had. Another guy you didn't have, number 2, Joe Burrow.
I had Burrow.
Oh,
Burrow was 3.
Okay, sorry. So I had Burrow, the Iceman, one of my favorite athletes right now, and number 1, who I mentioned earlier, Victor Wembanyama.
Manny, did you do a quick list?
I did do a quick list. At number 5, I have Shohei Ohtani.
Yep.
At number 4, I have Taylor Swift's boyfriend in Travis Kelce.
We were wondering, does he make the list now because of
that? Yeah,
Taylor?
that's the only reason why he's in my list.
Because normally he's kind of like Gronkowski, it's like kind of frat guy, smash a beer can on your head, dude.
Him being with T Swift.
People jabronis.
Yeah, exactly.
Him with T Swift, his stock went up.
Okay.
Number 3, I've got LeBron James because he's LeBron James.
Wow. Okay.
And then at number 2, it's basically a 1A, 1B here. At number 2, I've got Cristiano Ronaldo, and at number 1, I've got Lionel Messi. These are 2 dudes who have been playing. They've been in the spotlight for 20 years, and 10-year-olds are still going up to them, trying to take pictures with them, invading the pitch. Those are some cool dudes.
You know what? It's funny that Manny is the youngest person here, right? Manny, you were born in 1997.
That's right.
You're the youngest people here, and you had the oldest people on your list consistently.
I respect my elders.
With Messi, Ronaldo, and LeBron.
By the way, if Bronny was
cool,
playing right now, Bronny probably would have been on our list too. Bronny would have been pretty cool. That's the thing. You need the next. LeBron, how is that cool anymore? That was cool in 2008.
If LeBron walked in here, punched you in the face, you wouldn't say,
I'd be thrilled.
Man, that was the coolest thing that's ever happened in my life.
Yeah, but nobody's putting Tom Brady on this list. That's been there, done that. Victor Wembanyama is in my opinion, the interesting one. They're much more interesting than guys on the rise than guys who've been there.
We didn't put CJ Stroud on our list. And he's somebody who I think right now has the most, besides Josh Dobbs, who actually could have made the list as well, just because of the intrigue, how cool it is that he was able to basically learn an NFL offense in 5 minutes. But I think CJ Stroud, it's funny because he's definitely the next thing in the NFL right now as far as quarterbacks.
As far as quarterback, I wouldn't put a quarterback on the cool list because a quarterback still has to be a CEO to some point, where CJ Stroud is more of an executive than a wide receiver is the cool one. Like, they have to be more characters in my mind. So the coolest players of all time are Chad Ochocinco and Calvin Johnson, not really the great quarterbacks. So I looked at the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I put Joe Burrow on, so I still think Burrow
has
Lamar Jackson. There's some guys I think crack that.
Yeah, they have swag. Yeah, I thought about Lamar too because he's having such a great season. But again, he was cool 4 years ago. Mbappe, I mean, how many years has Mbappe been around?
Mbappe was the biggest story of the biggest sporting event that we have, the World Cup.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
That happened last year.
He's an old veteran. What is he, 24 now?
That's old now.
Coming up,
Amon-Ra St. Brown is also 24.
Could a future champion have a major asterisk? We're going to get to that next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She once fell off a ski lift. He was called in for questioning. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Well, the never-ending sign-stealing scandal. For a scandal that's moving as quickly as it is, we just keep getting more and more and more details, and maybe we'll actually get a resolution here. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. We take a quick break from the coolest athletes right now conversation to talk about something that is bizarre and definitely uncool, which is the Michigan sign-stealing scandal.
Oh, I disagree with that. This is the coolest scandal we got going. You don't think this is cool? Connor Stallions? That is the coolest name for a guy in a scandal we've ever had.
Okay, but the more we learn about this guy, the less cool it becomes. I mean, I think this guy, I don't know about this guy. I'm actually starting to get a little worried about this dude. Maybe the 500-page manifesto should have tipped us off that thought he was going to take over the Michigan program. I'm not so sure that he's all there. But anyway. Anyway, the latest is this. We'll get you up to speed. So Michigan had a few days to offer a rebuttal to the NCAA and to the Big Ten about, basically their side of the story. And they didn't refute really or say that the Connor Stallions stuff didn't happen, because it feels like the evidence is mounting that this did happen. He was breaking the rules. He was advanced scouting on behalf of Michigan. So they're not disputing that. What they're saying, Perloff, is they don't think any punishment can come down on Michigan because due process, the process has not played out. The, NCAA usually takes years to fact find and do these investigations, and they think any kind of penalty in season would be a rush to judgment against protocol and a dangerous precedent.
Yeah, that all makes perfect sense to me, and that's why Michigan, nothing serious is going to happen to them. Not to mention that it's a minor violation to start with, this signal stealing thing. I think they're exactly right, and the problem, what happened to Michigan, is they're a very popular program, and a lot of people hate Michigan for some reason. They have that Duke basketball thing that they're sort of cocky. They are too full of themselves. They're Michigan men, quote unquote. So I think there was an undue amount of backlash over a very, very minor infraction. So they're saying to the Big Ten, you better slow down. If you get caught up in this whirlwind of the scandal, and you're going to make a decision that you're going to regret. And I think they're absolutely right.
Okay, but there's a real other part of this, which is you say it's a minor infraction.
Minor.
And you might be right in terms of what's the biggest stuff we can think of that can impact a college football program. At the same time, it is a rule that was broken, and the other coaches and athletic directors are calling on the Big Ten commissioner to do something because they believe it did give them an advantage.
Right,
now,
so do something small.
Well, maybe suspending Jim Harbaugh for a game could be it, because I think there's another part of this. Yes, I think people love to hate Michigan, or there's a love-hate situation going there. If this was a minor program, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. However, there is something about how widespread this is, and whether Jim Harbaugh knew about Connor Stallions, him going to all these games, and also having 65 people allegedly also videotaping, it just looks so egregious. And it's such a, you broke a minor rule, but you did it so big. It's you got caught speeding. You were going 100 in a 45. It's like you do get a more severe penalty because of the scope of this, the breadth of this.
Okay,
yes.
But if that's the case and there's a big scope and a breadth, don't you want to spend a lot of time figuring out exactly what happened? Get your facts straight. And even this 65, now that we're learning more about Connor Stallions, this 65 people he quote unquote deputized, now I'm wondering, wait, what really happened here? I think the whole story has not been told. This kind of thing takes a while for the NCAA to do usually because they're slow. I think immediately ruling on something that will impact this season feels really dangerous to me, because what if they come in too heavy and it finds out that Jim Harbaugh really didn't know what this crazy guy was doing, and this guy is a rogue actor to some extent. I don't think it's possible. Somebody there knew what he was doing, because where do you think that you got the signs from? The other issue, but the bigger issue to me, Maggie, is that everybody does it, obviously. Jim Knowles, the Ohio State defensive coordinator, says 75% of teams try to steal signs. So, yes, they broke the rule in a very obvious way, but I think Michigan rightfully points out, hey, if you're going to really hurt us with this, we're going to hurt you back. And I think the NCAA and college football playoff, they need 4 teams that are eligible to play in the final thing. If you bring down Michigan, what if you bring down Ohio State next? What if you bring down Alabama next? What if you find it was happening at Georgia?
Okay,
then you have a real problem on your hands.
Okay, but that used to happen with other NCAA violations,
right,
like paying players or, having tutors write term papers for guys. And
right, and they never disrupted any of those people's seasons.
No, they didn't, but they would punish one program, then they'd get evidence, and they'd punish the next program, and the next one, and the next one. So I can't just say don't do anything to Michigan because they might be doing this at Georgia. Like, bring me the evidence, and then we'll punish Georgia.
Right, but
we'll punish Alabama.
Great, but they never, for a recruiting violation, they never gutted a season midway through the season.
Right.
And Spygate, that's the most closest analogy to this. They didn't stop the Patriots from playing in 2007 just because they caught them illegally taping.
Sure.
They still played the games. And that's what people are talking about. I know we're not talking about it, but people are saying, let's really hurt them. Let's keep them out of the Big Ten title game. Or let's suspend Harbaugh for a game against Ohio State. They never suspended Belichick for a game.
No. I wonder, though, if this is a new era in not just the NCAA, but also the Big Ten. You have to acknowledge there's a new NCAA president who is a former politician who's clearly taken the temperature, finger up in the wind on what people are talking about. And you also have a new Big Ten commissioner who just got there 8 months ago.
Right.
So all that old stuff, like we used to complain about the NCAA taking forever on these investigations, because by the time they got around to punishing the program, everyone who was involved in this has likely moved on to a different part of their life, whether the coach had moved on or whether the players had moved on. So the people who were getting punished were in high school when these violations were going on. That felt unfair also. So to move with some kind of swiftness, if they feel like, all right, maybe we didn't talk to all 65 people who may have been videotaping on Connor Stallion's behalf, but say we talked to 10 of them, is that enough for us to say, all right, we get it. We understand. We have enough evidence here that we can come down with a punishment.
No, I think you're in real danger of having an overreach here. First of all, we're not even talking about the NCAA, right? Because the NCAA, anything the NCAA does will be incompetent, poorly done, and poorly received.
Well,
that's facts.
It's
kind of
like NCAA and Big Ten kind of.
I think the Big Ten is the only one that can really do anything here. Because the NCAA is too busy losing massive lawsuits left and right every day. People aren't even paying attention. They're losing so many right now. So it's got to be the Big Ten. Tony Petitti comes in here. What if he comes in and makes the wrong decision and costs Michigan a chance at the national title? That is something that Michigan will never forget. Their fans will never forget. They will say, "Why couldn't you just wait a month to find out what's happening here? Why not wait? What's the downside here?" Michigan doesn't have the signs for these games moving forward.
So I think that damage done, right? And if you are caught breaking a rule and you know it and you have the concrete evidence, like why not do the punishment now while the people who are benefiting from that sign stealing scandal are still here to be punished? And then the other part too is, and this is what I'd love to hear from the audience at 855-212-4CBS, Michigan is a really good football team. We don't know what's going to happen with Penn State this weekend, but I'm betting Michigan in this game. We can get more into the X's and O's part of that if you want to, but if they win the title, is there going to be an asterisk on this? At first, I didn't think so, Perloff, but now, depending on who you talk to, having the signs is good for, a serious competitive advantage. Do they need it against Northwest East South State? No. But did they maybe need it for the, Big Ten winning streak that they have going on now that's spanned over 2 seasons? So does Ohio State get an asterisk, too, because they had Michigan's plays? Well, but here's the thing about that. I need to know more about that. Right? Like that. Well, you need to take your time on that, but not the Michigan thing. Well, because I know that a Michigan staffer was there directly getting the signs. The Rutgers, Ohio State, was it Illinois? Purdue. Purdue. Okay, that was gathered how sign stealing has been gathered, we think, for years and years. That is the claim, by the way, that it was TV copy. That is TV, yeah. That's the claim. We really don't know. It seems based on the way the last week has played out, we have no idea how many programs were stealing signs. Okay, but do we know that a Michigan staffer was advanced scouting? Yes. But okay, so Ohio State probably hired somebody to figure this out. Michigan is if they actually suspended them or put an asterisk, if I'm Michigan, I'd come out with guns a-blazing and burn down the whole sport. They're already trying to do that. They have the 10-page letter here. They're going to succeed. Well, no, what they're doing here is they're actually just trying to muddy the waters and distract people. I don't think it's going to succeed. This is a lot of, hey, what about them and what about them? We're not talking about them right now. We're talking about you. We're talking about you violating a rule. And it doesn't matter how they got the information or got tipped off, whether it was a private investigator working for Ohio State or whoever. That's irrelevant. We've got the information now. And I think it's not, it's basically just like a lot of bravado. It's a lot of smoke. It's a lot of saber rattling. It's a lot of that by Michigan. And doesn't change any of the facts. Someone on your program was breaking the rules.
So you're telling me Rutgers football has the signs of the other team, and the schools in the SEC that would basically break any rule possible to win a football game, they don't have the signs. They're like, oh, Rutgers is sophisticated enough to get the other team signs, but we're not going to do any of that.
See, here again, you're changing the conversation because you're doing the whataboutism. Well, what about the SEC? Well, what about the Pac-12? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the facts of what's going on with the Big Ten.
But it's like nailing a college football program before NIL for paying a player.
And they used to do that all the time.
And it was stupid. And we all knew it was ridiculous. Nobody took that seriously. I think fans thought it was idiotic to go after one program when you knew every program was doing it.
Okay, I'd love to know if fans think this is idiotic. Because, I think you have a wide variety of opinions here on how much of an advantage you may have gotten from this. And just the fact that the rule was there, it was broken. Should you get punished for it?
Yeah, get punished. Fine. Right. Take away 2 scholarships and be done with it. Make a normal punishment. The stuff that's out there in the ether about what should happen in Michigan is crazy to me.
Well, people should remember the Big Ten commissioner is a former television executive. This dude knows. Tony Petitti is a smart guy. He's not going to take Harbaugh off the sidelines for Ohio State. It's like how many great rivalries do we even have left in our sports watching society? You're not going to take Harbaugh off the sideline for that.
All right, that's absolutely true. Right. And even if you take that off the table, what do you think an appropriate penalty for illegal advanced scouting should be?
I don't know. See, I think that in some ways you got like these leagues kind of screw themselves over because they never assign a specific penalty. It's not like if you do this, then it's going to happen. It's not like our laws in this country where it's like if you steal a car, this is what's going to happen to you.
I think it's 2 scholarships and $100,000 fine. Something like that. Something very small. So a slap on the wrist at most, especially on the first time you get caught doing it. If they get caught doing it again, then it's a different story. If they get caught lying about it, which they probably already have, then it's a different
Jim
story.
Harbaugh already said he didn't know anything about it, so that could be the first lie.
But it does feel like this whole scandal, I think partly because the details are so juicy, has taken on this life of its own, and people are calling an asterisk over this. To me, there's no way there should be an asterisk. That should be our poll. If Michigan wins at all, do you put an asterisk because of sign stealing? I can't do that. It's way too minor for me.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Jeffrey Howell's in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, says asterisks still go in the trophy case.
No. I think, didn't USC have to pull out all their trophies?
Well, Reggie Bush gave back the Heisman. So, yes, I think actually that crystal football that they used to have, I do think maybe they took that away.
I seem to remember there was something about removing actual hardware from different schools,
and the Michigan had to take down the banners, the Final Four.
Banners. Yeah. I do think you kind of have to take away some of the stuff. But who cares? We all saw it. We all saw Reggie Bush dominate. That's a great example. Nobody thinks that USC should have been penalized. Nobody thinks they deserve an asterisk. No fans, in my opinion, put an asterisk on that one, do they?
I don't think so, but maybe this one will be different. Again, 855-212-4CBS. I think it is notable, I think, and worth merit to look at how the other coaches are responding to this behind the scenes. I get it. People might not like Harbaugh. They might not like Michigan. He rubs people the wrong way. He loves to be, like go at it with coaches and stuff. But if your program's also doing this, or you think it's even a shadow of doubt that you might be doing this, why would you be protesting so much to the Big Ten to do something to Harbaugh? Like, if I know that, something's wrong at my house, why am I calling it out to someone else?
But who are the vocal protesters? It's Matt Rule, and it's not, I don't know. I've not heard Ryan Day come out, and maybe I missed it, come out and say, you really got to come down heavy on Michigan.
Well, what you're seeing, though, is what we said kind of last week, is that you have these coaches and these ADs going really behind closed doors in these meetings with the Big Ten commissioner saying how many more teams they have, like all of them saying basically, you got to do something. When they get in front of cameras, they're a lot more pointed with their words. I think they look very hypocritical in doing that, but the reporting on everything is that when these meetings happen, they're very tense because they keep kind of putting the Big Ten's feet to the fire, saying you have to do something with Harbaugh and Michigan.
Let's put the poll out at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. Will you put an asterisk by Michigan if they win the title this year because of the sign stealing scandal? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We have some good news to talk about with college football, believe it or not. We'll get into that next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. A lot of debates going on right now. Coolest athlete in sports. I've already redone my list 9 times. But we're talking Michigan football. Poor Michigan football, a program that never, ever gets a break. And now everybody wants to come after them and even put an asterisk on this mythical championship that they have not won. In fact, they'd have to beat Penn State, Ohio State, somebody in the Big Ten title game, and the Final Four. But we're already talking asterisk if they do win. It's ridiculous to me because they are not going to have signs for these games moving forward, because I assume at this point other teams are changing their signs. I would hope so.
Well, I would hope so, but it doesn't mean they haven't had them. Now, I don't know why you would need these kinds of signs stealing to beat like East Carolina, but still, I mean, they did, in theory, have an advantage. And
well, I mean, the other team had their signs too, so I don't know what kind of advantage it was.
Okay, but when other teams had their signs, we that part of the investigation, I think, is still the murkiest.
Right, but we actually have a picture of Michigan signs saying if he slaps his hand this way, it's a run play.
Right.
So we know the other teams had their signs because we actually have seen these signs.
Right, but that was just one data point from one, maybe like from one game or something, whereas the Connor Stallions was flying across the country. He was paying other people to go do this. Like he had apparently, like, you know, I think a lot more data. Maybe, I don't know.
And isn't there something to just like the corner cutting that Michigan was doing by doing it this way? Like this guy who put together this dossier, so to speak, for Ohio State, Rutgers, and Purdue, that guy said it took 10 to 12 hours.
Right.
Like if you send somebody to go to a game and you're sitting at the 50-yard line and you just record the whole game, I would imagine that's a lot less time to put together what the signs are.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought the going off TV would be the corner cutting because you don't have to leave your house.
You don't get every shot. Like the TV's showing most of the time the games. Like if you're able to zoom in on just the signs for all 60 minutes, like you're probably getting way more than you would if you're just watching it from television.
Well, I was wondering, do they also get all 22 tape for? I think college teams probably do, right? They get scouting tape from the other team.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the biggest challenge here is you have to be really good at Excel to do one of these charts. That's where the 12 hours come in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I put in the wrong cell. How annoying would it be?
I know.
The actual typing is the biggest problem. Connor Stallions, I mean, how this guy was stealing all these signs, fixing vacuum cleaners, reportedly, and entering all this into some computer. I mean, the guy must have not slept for 4 years.
I mean, also, I think you should have some kind of program about like how to be efficient, you know,
Yeah,
like how to live your life in the most efficient way possible. There's like 6 side hustles and was on every Southwest airline flight to college programs all over the country. We asked you if Michigan wins this year, would there be an asterisk on it? Brooke is in Georgia on CBS Sports Radio. Good morning, Brooke.
Hey, Maggie. Thanks for having me on. I definitely think there's going to be an asterisk by the quote-unquote non-title yet, because the impact of recruits that came on over these wins that Michigan was able to get because they steal the signs. I think people started, I mean, they've always been a powerhouse recruit, but, you might get some more extra players or better players just because they're winning those big games.
Interesting.
And then the TCU game that they lost, 51-45, because TCU changed the sign. They pulled the okie doke on Michigan.
Yep, and they were bragging about it afterwards. Brooke, thank you for the phone call. I mean, that is a good piece of we're talking about data points here. That TCU game is a good data point because that was, TCU came out and said, we knew they had our signs. We changed them up. We got them.
So can you verify that?
What?
In a week, can you verify exactly what happened in that TCU game? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yes, those are all good data points, but this is going to take weeks and weeks and weeks to figure out exactly what happened.
Ryan is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good morning, Ryan.
Morning, guys. I just wanted to say, this whole sign stealing thing, okay, it has been happening since the dawn of sports.
Yep.
This is the same reason catchers and pitchers cover their face with their gloves when they go out to talk. The sideline coaches are covering their face with their playbook when they're talking to the quarterback.
Yep.
You know, the guy on second is trying to catch the catcher's sign. It's been happening. Was Michigan a little too obvious with it? Did they go a little too far? Maybe. You know, they got caught.
Right.
But seriously, this has been happening since the dawn of time with sports.
Oh, Ryan, I don't think anyone is saying that it doesn't happen. You're right. Thank you for the phone call. You're right. It happens. Just like I think colleges before NIL were paying players since the dawn of time to recruit them to their schools. But there were rules on the books, and they were broken. Philosophically, you could disagree and say this is all stupid, and I don't like it, and everyone's doing it, so they shouldn't get punished. But there are rules that exist for a reason.
Well, the recruiting rules should not have existed. They were all stupid, and players should have been getting paid for years instead of having this black market. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's going to be so many more stories about sign stealing coming out of this. Because, first of all, it gets clicks. People like to read about sign stealing. Is Spygate, when you look back at it, 2007 Spygate, was that really worth all the fuss? No, in my opinion. It was.
Well, the Patriots kept doing it, so.
Yeah, I mean, all they were doing.
That's the part that didn't even deter them. They were still videotaping people.
And much like this scandal, you're allowed to videotape. They just did it in a way that was illegal.
Right.
So is that really that significant a difference, considering that you and I and everybody in this room can watch a college football game and get about half the signs? So what team is not changing their signs and knowing that? Why would a team not change their signs coming against Michigan or any team on any given week?
Yeah.
I would hope you'd audible.
I think that part of it is maybe you feel like we're dealing with young men. We're dealing with young people, 18, 19, 20 years old. To be switching things up every week, maybe that's asking a little too much of keeping everyone on the same page. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. They're professional athletes. Let's not kid ourselves.
But is it fair to be like, well, I'm breaking the rules, so you should do more work to stop us from being effective at breaking the rules? Like, I don't really buy that argument.
So what would you do? Okay, you say that. So what, you think they should come down heavy right now, or should they gather all the facts for 2 months, like Michigan is asking?
No, I mean,
them to
we
do?
know they broke the rules. So I think a simple suspension of Jim Harbaugh is absolutely on the table and should be done. Like, we want to get into how pervasive, how effective it was. That maybe you take more time, and maybe that does take over a summer to figure out what you do in Michigan in terms of, do you lose scholarships, do you do all that stuff. But were they was Connor Stallions going to games to record other people's signs, which we know is illegal? That is indisputable. Michigan, in their responses to the NCAA and to the Big Ten, are not disputing that.
So
you hammer them.
So what if it's worse than you thought, and they deserve more penalties? You suspend them now. You can't come back and suspend them again next year.
No, so that's what I'm saying. You can give a suspension to Harbaugh, but that doesn't mean the program can't then be punished. You can absolutely then say, okay, you know what? Upon further investigation,
you tack on more.
We tack on a bunch of guys. How many times we have guys have indefinite suspensions that we see until we learn more information? That happens all the time in sports.
For a minor, yes, for real violations, for serious stuff. This is not serious stuff.
I disagree that it's not serious. This is serious.
You can go to @Maggie and Pearl on Twitter if you want to vote in our poll. Should Michigan have an asterisk on this season if they win the title? Peter Schwartz is here with some headlines. Good morning, Peter.
And good morning, Maggie. We'll tip off in the association. The first stop is Denver.
They're going to feed Jokic against Looney. Jokic one-on-one against Looney. Bounce pass Jackson. Layup good. What a pass for Nikola Jokic. They came over for the double team, and Jokic burned him with the pass. Denver leads it by 3.
That was Jason Kosmicki on Nuggets Radio. Nuggets over the Warriors, 108-105. Nikola Jokic finished with 35 points, 13 rebounds. The Nuggets now 6-0 at home, 8-1 overall.
I think our big question today is we're trying to figure out the top 5 coolest athletes in sports right now. Does Jokic make the cut?
I don't even think he's the coolest guy on his team.
Well,
I mean, I personally think Jamal Murray is a lot cooler. I know he's hurt. I kind of think Michael Porter is cool because he's such an oddball too.
Is it cool not to care? All right, sorry. Back to you.
Does the name make you cool? Like Nikola Jokic is a cool name.
But in a sense that he's the uncoolest athlete too, because he doesn't try to be cool.
Yeah.
There is no athlete that tries less to be cool. What
exactly.
is he? Does he dress up for games? Does he even wear any of the fashion?
Who would even ask?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like in a way, he's the uncoolest athlete.
He's answering his own questions at press conferences, so no one will be able to ask him probably.
I know.
Next game.
In some ways, it's kind of cool that he's trying so hard not to be cool. Anyway, back to you, Pete.
There you go. We'll go to Philadelphia now. Sixers beat the Celtics 106-103. Sixers head coach Nick Nurse summing up the win.
We did some really good things that we wanted to do. We had a lot of things we didn't want to do happen as well. But, it's kind of that time of year where we got to continue to clean up, some of that.
Joel Embiid, 27 points, 10 boards.
By the way, I just apologize in advance. It's got to be hard for all you guys to watch Philadelphia dominate the entire sports landscape. Best record in the NBA.
It's been good.
Yeah.
November. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. Your teams are probably most of them are out of it by now, EJ.
I
but
think
Philadelphia
the Jets beat the Eagles this year.
Yes, we might lose in championship round. We might lose in the championship, but this is obviously going to be a deep run for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow.
I think it's obvious at this point.
That was not what you were saying 3 days ago.
I had to see them without Harden. Now I'm all in.
Speaking of Harden, Nets over the Clippers, 193. Nets legend James Harden made his return to Brooklyn. 12 points, also turned the ball over 5 times.
We had opportunities. I think the last 2 games came down in the fourth quarter. Where it's a tie game, a one-possession game. And, tonight it was on me as far as, letting the ball get away.
Lonnie Walker led the Nets with 21.
Did you see when Harden basically threw the ball to the announcers? Our guy, Ian Eagle. I couldn't tell at first. I'm like, was that on purpose that he was just trying to throw it in the direction of Nets broadcasters, PR staff? Yeah, I know some of the people over there.
Well, I would see if you.
Or is he just that bad?
Here's my thing on that. I saw the video. If you also in the NBA last night, you had the Raptors over the Mavericks 127-116. The T-Wolves beat the Pelicans 122-101. The Thunder topped the Cavaliers 128-120. The Pacers beat the Jazz 134-118. There was one college basketball game in the top 25 last night. Number 10, Florida Atlantic beating Loyola Chicago 75-62. Week 10 in the NFL begins tonight. Panthers visit the Bears. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young are preparing during a short work week.
They're responsible for the same things. You still have to go out and, know the same stuff. Make sure I watch the same stuff. Make sure that, although practices may, obviously with each different week, the practice schedule looks differently. You're still responsible for getting those reps, being ready.
Kickoff tonight, 8:15 Eastern Time, should be a doozy in Chicago between those two teams.
Okay, now I'm seeing this video of James Harden throwing it to the announcers. Yeah. You didn't mention he was 100 yards away from them.
Yes, he was in the corner.
Threw it halfway across the arena, so the announcers didn't know it was coming. So
no, but
Sarah Cossack almost lost her computer here.
No, apparently a whole thing of tea spilled into Ian's lap. Sarah's coffee spilled all over her. We'll find the audio for you. Ian reads it the whole way. He's tracking it like he's Jamar Chase down the sideline. It's amazing.
I don't know who this pass was supposed to be. It was kind of like Tua's pass at the end of the Germany game. It was completely a total misfire here.
I couldn't tell if maybe it was a little intentional. Now, I don't know who would have beef with Ian Eagle. That's on you. Ian's the best.
If it was intentional, it's great aim by James Harden because he was all the way across the arena. I've never seen worse body language than the Clippers yesterday in that Nets game. I mean, those 4 guys, this could be very bad.
By the way, you know who would have crushed James Harden for throwing a cross-court pass like that? Hubie Brown.
Hubie Brown would not have been pleased.
Hubie Brown would have said, you never throw a cross-court pass when the defense is there. He would have been right on top of it. And I'm sure Sarah did crush Harden for it, but I'm just saying Hubie Brown definitely still has his fastball.
I know. This is going to be the never-ending. Should Hubie Brown at 90 still be calling games? Or should someone else get a shot?
He's still great, though.
The national treasure.
Know he is. I get it. I love him. I painted area. I've learned so much from Hubie. 90. I mean, he's had his day in the sun, and then the other day, and then the next day, and then the next day. He's had decades in the sun.
He's inspiring.
He's also really good.
He is good.
Yeah. Baseball, Angels name Ron Washington their new manager, and hockey overtime in our nation's capital.
He'll play it along, near side Barkov. Barkov zips it rink wide of lane. Reinhardt's in the front of the net. A shot, he scores! Sam Reinhart, the overtime winner, and it only took 15 seconds. The Panthers win it 4-3 in overtime here in Washington.
Doug Plagens on Panthers radio. You also had the Golden Knights losing to the Kings 4-1 in Vegas last night.
Peter, thank you so much. Got a lot more to do, including the one person we did not expect to have beef with on this show, but apparently we do. We'll get to that in just moments. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Today's Thursday Night Football preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I mean, listen, Maggie, when they were setting up the schedule coming into this year, Al Michaels said, Bears, Panthers, give me that one. That is going to be a battle of Bryce Young and Justin Fields. But now we have to watch this game. It's actually wildly fascinating for totally different reasons. What happens to these two franchises could lie in the balance tonight because they both want the number one pick.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry. Chicago wants the number one pick, and Carolina gave away their pick. So they don't want to give that, basically Chicago could get the number one pick from Carolina being bad.
Listen, I think that if you're the Carolina Panthers, you don't want to add insult to injury here, which is you already potentially mortgage your future. If Bryce Young doesn't turn out to be super high-level quarterback. I can't even just say high level. He's the number one overall pick. The expectation should be through the roof. If not for him, then for who? Who are we going to save the expectations for? Josh Dobbs? He's the number one overall pick. It's looked bad. Everyone's going to give him a pass, though, his rookie year because Peyton Manning got a pass and other guys have had terrible rookie seasons and have gone on to be excellent players. But this could end up being an all-time boneheaded trade, and you could have just gifted the Chicago Bears 2 bites at the apple to try to get another franchise quarterback.
Yeah, the problem is the Bears are a franchise that always screws up their quarterback. And I wonder, Justin Fields, he got drafted there. Was that the wrong place for him? Is it the wrong place for whoever they draft next year as well, Caleb Williams and Drake May? It seems like there's problems that are deeper with Chicago. So I wonder, that's a one team where Caleb Williams could go, and I would not think he'd be a star.
It's funny. The most fascinating person in this game is the person who is not going to be playing in this game. Should we hear a little Matt Eberflus sound line? We go for it, right? Okay, let's listen to a little Matt Eberflus. Now, we're used to coaches sometimes being confusing. This is an all-timer. So let's listen to Matt Eberflus. Manny, cut 1. Now, everyone's going to have to keep up here. Justin Fields, not medically cleared, but then says he's doubtful, but then says he's out.
He's not medically cleared to go right now, and he's getting better, though. He's accuracy's improving. He's throwing it better, and he's starting to do more and more and more. So we'll see where it goes. And right now we're listing him as doubtful, and we'll see where it goes from there.
If he's not medically cleared, well, how come doubtful versus out?
Yeah, just to see. We got to give him one more day. But he's working hard, and it's getting better every day. So we'll see where it goes.
He's not playing tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not playing.
What? Okay. Again, not medically cleared, but then they said, hey, we want to give him another day. A lot can happen in a day. So said that's why we're saying he's doubtful, not ruling him out. Is he going to play? Well, no. Here's more from Matt Eberflus, where the media is trying to understand what the heck is going on.
I'm having trouble understanding. He's not playing, but he's doubtful. Is he out or doubtful?
Now he's listed as doubtful.
But you're saying that he's out. He's not going to play.
We'll see where it goes. The chances are doubtful, 51% that he's in or out, and it's going to be. We'll see where it is. We got a little time left, but again, we'll declare him out when he's out. Right now, we're still listing him as doubtful.
What did he say?
He may. Yep.
You just said he was out. You literally just said it. I feel like for a coach, you must really start to get nervous when the reporters are furiously typing on their laptops as you're talking. Like, this is going out to the world in real time.
That's a bad sign when you see that typing. What was the number he threw out there? 51%? What was
50? Yeah, 51%.
That he's out?
Not playing.
That he's not playing.
So that means there's a 49% chance he is playing now?
Which should mean he should be questionable. Because usually it's 50-50 if you're questionable, 25% if you're doubtful.
So, okay, I'm sorry.
It's funny, I never knew there was a percentage.
Does anyone know who's playing quarterback for the Chicago Bears? This is a who's on first routine.
It's me and you playing quarterback. We're going to split snaps tonight. It's ridiculous. And I guess maybe we're parsing the words, but why is he parsing the words? You just said he's out. Just say he's out.
Is he out?
He's out.
Wait.
This is like if Seinfeld was doing football.
Yeah, Larry David, this may be in the next season of Curb.
Curb, yeah.
Yeah.
So dumb.
But wait.
These are the people in charge of Justin Fields' future, by the way. Let that sink in.
Are we 100% sure he's out? Because he's still listed as doubtful on the final injury report.
I know, but go back to cut 1. Cut 1, at the end, he says he's out.
He's not medically cleared to go right now, and
Right now.
he's getting better though. I mean, he's accuracy's improving. He's throwing it better, and he's starting to do more and more and more. So we'll see where it goes. And right now we're listing him as doubtful, and we'll see where it goes from there.
If he's not medically cleared, well, how come doubtful versus out?
Yeah, just to see. We got to give him one more day. But he's working hard, and it's getting better every day. So we'll see where it goes.
He's not playing tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Oh my gosh.
The reporters must be like, what a gigantic waste of time this is for everybody.
Is this fun to cover the Chicago Bears when you have Eberflus doing this, or is this like embarrassing at this point?
Well, I don't think
time?
I don't think this is. I don't think Eberflus has given this many bad press conferences. To see a guy that we've never played his sound really. I don't even know what
this year.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
I haven't
do you
been paying
remember
attention.
the day when the what hit the fan with the Bears was, remember Justin Fields came out and said, I got to start playing like myself. I'm not playing like myself. And, kind of, it seemed like kind of threw the organization, threw the organization under the bus, then later had to clarify it. All happened on the same day that the defensive coordinator was let go for reasons that are still unknown. Remember this whole day that happened?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do remember that.
That was not that long ago. It was like a month ago. I know things move quickly in the NFL, but it wasn't that long ago. He's not playing. Why is he doubtful?
But he's doubtful.
Or questionable.
Well,
He's also not medically cleared.
But if he is,
But if he was, he'd be doubtful.
We have one more day.
Yeah, he's not playing.
is he going to play tonight? Just tell me, because I want to see him play. I do not want to see. Tyson Badgett, great story. Are you sure?
We all want to see him play. He just told you he's not playing.
He also said you got to give it one more day.
That's
He
also
also said
because
he is playing. He gave him a 49% chance.
he's not playing. But again, if I'm Justin Fields, and I'm concerned about my future right now because, well, obviously, but if you have the Chicago Bears are going to have maybe 2 top 3 picks. This is not the regime that traded up to draft him. This is, totally different people in the building. And if I'm the Bears, if I do take Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever is going to go 1 and 2, then I'm not having Justin Fields there.
Yeah, he's not playing.
You've got to trade Justin Fields and you have your young quarterback and you put a veteran with him, and you either, in my opinion, start the veteran and then work the rookie in later on in the season. Don't have Justin Fields there and the two of them duking it out in training camp. I don't think that helps anybody because you're sending a mixed message to your locker room. Who's the guy? And I think that's important to have that kind of pecking order.
I hear what you're saying. And of course, I think it's way different if it's Caleb Williams. There's no conversation with Caleb Williams because he's a once-in-a-generation prospect. Drake May, there's more of a conversation to me. I think Drake May is going to be really good, but that's not such an obvious no-brainer. I think if you looked at Justin Fields on film, if you put Drake May and Justin Fields on the same field, you might not be sure, hey, maybe Justin Fields is the guy. I think that's what you're saying. You don't want him there to compete with a guy who's not a sure thing.
No, that's a real competition if it's Justin Fields and Drake May. You don't want real competitions in training camp. You want fake competitions, pseudo competitions where the veteran who's brought in knows what his situation is and the rookie understands what his situation is. And I'm not saying that Drake May is better than Justin Fields. I'm saying Drake May now it would be much cheaper than Justin Fields.
The salary. I mean,
if you keep Fields, you basically are saying we're paying him.
This is probably an idiotic reason not to draft him, but I do think Chicago got so burned with Trubisky that they'd be a little gun shy on a North Carolina quarterback. And the other thing, too, any quarterback they draft has been a failure. You could keep Justin Fields and draft the best left tackle, probably the Penn State kid, and Marvin Harrison. I think that's at least a route. I'm not saying that's what they should do. If it wasn't for the darn rookie salary cap, I think that'd be an option. But, hey, maybe Justin Fields, if he plays well the last 6 games, that could be what Chicago ends up doing.
I think they're playing him to audition him to another team that will trade for him because if you draft a left tackle in Marvin Harrison and just try to build around Fields again, well, then you're handing him $150 million guaranteed because that's what you're saying. We're investing in you. And I don't know if Fields is going to show us that much in the last 6 games or whatever of the season. And I think it's probably start overtime. And I think he might like that, by the way. Roquan Smith had a quote earlier this week that said, thank God I'm in Baltimore because I feel like it saved my career. Like, I'm not just going to be wasted in Chicago. Maybe Justin Fields can't wait to get out of
And that's
there.
a linebacker where linebackers are typically, made careers in
Revered.
Chicago. So imagine a quarterback, how they would feel about leaving the Bears. I think they would throw a parade probably.
Right? I mean, give me any other chance.
It was funny. I know earlier we mentioned, about Eberflus and whether or not he's kind of had these gaps before, but there was the kind of infamous back and forth about Chase Claypool where he was deactivated, but then said there was a chance he could come back, and we have that sound here. Here was Eberflus earlier in the season.
Almost no scenario where a team would do this unless that player was done with that team. Is that the case with Chase, that he's not going to play for the Bears again?
Well, he's not going to be in the building this week, so he's not playing this week. So that we'll see where it goes from there. And again, like I said, Ryan handles all those trades and transactions, and we'll see where it goes.
Do you think there's some possibility that then you would have him out of the building? You would tell him not to come to a game. You'd have him out of the building, not to go to another game, and he would somehow be on the team again at some point and play?
All I'm saying right now is that he's not in the building this week.
What transfer?
Okay. Seeing a pattern here, EJ. I get it.
He's had some rough ones this year.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Matt Eberflus is I know the Eberflus, I will always remember that name. Yeah. I cannot picture his face in my head at all. He's one of those anonymous.
He doesn't look like how his name sounds, if that makes sense.
No, not at all. He kind of reminds me, Pat Shurmur, I've always had trouble grappling what he looks like.
Yeah, he looks exactly like Eberflus.
Yeah, they look exactly the same, just sort of generic lifetime assistant coaches who finally get their shot and don't do anything with it.
Eberflus has such a unique name, you kind of expect a unique looking person, but he just looks like any kind of average NFL coach. It's very, that to me always throws me off when I see him actually talk.
That's funny that you guys equate how unique somebody's name is to what they physically might look like.
Like Jim Tom Sula looked like a Jim Tom Sula.
Yeah, that's true.
And Tony Sperano looked like a Tony Sperano.
Yeah. They wore it well.
Yeah. I would say Mike Tomlin looks like a Mike Tomlin. He looks like a tough SOB. I don't look
Bill
at
Cowher.
Yeah, Bill Cowher, right.
Bill Belichick.
It's something with
I was just naming names. Just naming coaches now.
I think part of that, your brain associates that person with the name. Like Mike Tomlin could be anybody, but now that we know who Mike Tomlin is.
Yeah, that's your brain doing that. That's
I
not
think maybe it's Tomlin made you think of Mike Tomlin like that.
No, but Tomlin's I think Mike Tomlin, I feel like is a tough name.
Okay, but hold on.
Name.
What about Pete Carroll? It's kind of like a Christmas carol.
Two first names, right?
But Pete's also he's like your grandpa.
Actually, maybe
Pete Carroll is like a Christmas.
Maybe he is like a Christmas carol.
I think Bill Cowher, that's a tough guy.
Because it's like Cowher, Sour.
Bill.
Mike Ditka.
Mike Ditka.
Again,
Dick Butkus.
They're guys with their names.
Ray Nitschke. Yeah. I mean, Ray Nitschke was not going to be a running back. He was going to be an inside linebacker for the Packers, no doubt.
Well, that's like when people are named, Steele. When people name their kids Steele or Adonis.
Not to bring it back to Amon-Ra St. Brown, but there's no position except wide receiver that someone named Amon-Ra St. Brown is good. Maybe cornerback. I think that there's certain wide receiver names, there's certain linebacker names. Roquan Smith. Of course that's a linebacker.
Absolutely.
It's just because he's a linebacker.
I think
our brain, to do with it.
It could easily be our brains playing tricks with us.
I think so.
Brian Hoyer, that's got to be a backup quarterback.
Andy Dalton must be a redhead.
Yeah, of course.
He sounds like a
Dalton, redhead. Duh.
Who's the worst team in the NFL that has the sunniest outlook? Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
He's been on the TB12 method since he was 6. She's on her 3rd scotch. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
And doesn't that about sum it up? Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I guess we're being treated to a football game tonight. Can't say it's going to be very good. It's going to be the Carolina Panthers, and it's going to be the Chicago Bears. I think the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL right now. And not just that, I don't really see the big avenue for them to get much better. So it's not just you're bad now, but unless Bryce Young really turns it around, unless they probably overspend in free agency and, and just go hog wild in the offseason, I don't see the big second-year jump coming for Bryce Young.
Well, they can't get worse at receiver. I mean, they gave away DJ Moore in the Bryce Young trade, and they have no one. Adam Thielen was kind of washed up in Minnesota. That sounds mean. But they have no talent around him, so they can't get worse. I am curious if this is the right coach for him as well. I think Frank Reich's having a really hard time. It doesn't seem to be getting along well with the owner. So the only thing that can really say, what if they do a total reboot, bring in a different offensive coach who brings in a new system to help him, maybe a Sean McVay coming in and saving Jared Goff kind of coach. Maybe there's something there, but I would look at that radical move because you're right. The way they're headed now, there's no silver lining.
Yeah, you traded away your first-round pick. As Perloff said, you traded away DJ Moore. And these kinds of, wholesale changes, unless you think that Bryce Young is going to have, the upward trajectory of a Trevor Lawrence, which I don't think he has right now, I don't think that just doing, overspending in free agency, okay, you bring in a new coach, but now you have a young quarterback on his second coach and putting in a whole new offense and, these are the kinds of things that in some ways can actually mess with players' careers. So I have no idea what's going to happen with the future of Frank Reich. All I know is that I'm not buying any stock in the Carolina Panthers. I don't think this team's going to be good for a while, and if ever. And you could say, oh, you're in a crappy division. Congrats. That's going to be what you fall on because everyone else in the division is not that awesome. That's loser's mentality.
I think forever sounds a little radical.
Well, you know what I mean. Bryce Young, you're not giving up on him right away. He's the number 1 overall pick. You got to ride with this guy for a while.
Yeah, I think you could do some things. I know they don't have this first-round pick, but they can spend. Honestly, they can't get worse roster-wise. They should have known this coming in, too. It was. I said this preseason.
Yeah.
I said the Panthers are going to be terrible because they have no talent around this guy, and they screwed up their offensive line picks. Ike Ekwonu has not done well.
Yep.
So they basically have to rebuild.
And I don't trust the general manager.
I do think, no, I don't either. And I think he'll be gone. I think they'll start over there. I do think there is value in being really, 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 really bad and then just saying we need to do everything differently.
Yeah.
So a complete reset is a little better than a limbo reset where you're think maybe I can save this guy or that guy. Maybe if they realize we need to rebuild this team from scratch, that gives them an advantage.
Listen, you've got all the hallmarks here of a franchise that's bad. You have a meddling owner. You've got a GM that nobody trusts. You've got a head coach owner situation that might be dicey. And you've got a quarterback that's struggling. Man, I don't see a lot of silver linings on this one. Now, on the flip side, if I were to tell you the bad team now that I think has the sunniest outlook and has the best outlook, that's where I might go with the Chicago Bears. With the could be two top 3 picks, depending how Justin Fields plays the rest of the way, if he is going to play again, which we think he will. You could trade away Justin Fields, get some more assets there. You get to start over with a good quarterback, and you would totally have permission to clean house in Chicago as well. And I think that job becomes extremely attractive if you have Caleb Williams or if you have Drake May.
Okay, but do you trust the GM there? The same GM who traded for Chase Claypool and just did this Montez Sweat deal, the Washington pass rusher. I think they gave up probably the 34th or 35th pick in the draft. So I worry about that. And not to mention, you're talking about the franchise issues with Carolina. Chicago's been stuck in this for a long time, kind of coming from the top. I think the ownership group has a lot of questions. So I'm not sure that they don't have the exact same problems that Carolina has.
I feel a little bit better about those picks, and I think there's going to actually be a changing and a cleaning of house. Which bad team do you think is set up the best?
So everything I just said about Chicago, this is going to sound weird. I think the Cardinals are oddly in a good spot.
In what way?
So they have 2 draft picks coming up. They have the Texans draft pick, which is getting worse and worse. That they gave up the number 3 pick. It turned out to be Will Anderson. It's 15 now. I think the Texans will probably come down to earth. That'll probably be a top 12 pick. They have probably the number 1 pick, depending on what Kyler Murray does. But you have this asset in Kyler Murray. You have basically you're starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. But you did draft a left tackle last year who they like. You have first round picks at different parts of the roster, and you have going to have all the salary cap space in the world. So if you find a way to get rid of Kyler Murray here, you're going to have a rookie deal. You're going to have a lot of young first round picks. You're going to be playing indoors. I think that is a team that could build talent quickly.
Okay, talk about...
And by the way, the next draft, too, they have a lot of draft capital coming up.
Okay, talk about bad ownership groups and questionable ownership groups.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cardinals might be at the top of the list. Another expose after another expose about how the owner is treating people. They're in lawsuits with former executives, all that stuff. See, I think the Cardinals are in a worse situation because they already paid Murray.
Yeah, but they're going to get out fast on that one.
Okay, but trading Justin Fields because he hasn't gotten that second contract yet is a lot more appealing if I'm a team and I'd take a flyer on Justin Fields rather than I know Kyler Murray comes with $50 million a year. And I don't even know if his head's in the game. Does he want to be great at this? Did paying him mean that he's not going to care as much? There's so much there that I don't have those questions with Justin Fields because I'm still trying to dangle the carrot of the big contract.
Okay, but what if you get Caleb Williams and you have Paris Johnson blocking for him in front of that? That's a start. And you're indoors and you're in the West, which I think is a division that is, I think the Rams are on the way down. I think the 49ers are good, but I think the Seahawks are probably on the way down. Their quarterback's 32, too. I think that you're in a spot here where you can build fast. They have a lot of draft capital coming up. And if they trade Murray, and what if they keep Kyler Murray, and then they have the number 1 pick? What if they trade for a huge haul to get somebody moving up for a quarterback, too? They have options here. Chicago also has options, but I feel like Chicago never gets it right at quarterback, where at least the Cardinals have gotten it right a few times over the years.
Why? Because they got Kurt Warner at the end of the career?
Well, listen, they've had good years with. Did Palmer have one good year there or something? I don't know.
Yeah, but again, these aren't guys they drafted and developed. These are guys who are at the end of their careers.
Kyler Murray had 2 outstanding years. I think they've had some success. Name a good year. 1 year where Jay Cutler was okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be able to find one for you there. But
and also, if I'm Caleb Williams, I am more attracted to going to Arizona indoors than Chicago outdoors in the NFC North. That's part of this is a little bit of Caleb Williams thinking.
Well, I think the new stadium is going to be coming in Chicago at some point. Now, I know stadiums sometimes can take forever to get built, but
that one is very messy. That is a little messy, huge argument.
But still, I think what always wins out. People complain about stadiums, no one wants to pay for them, and what ends up happening every time? The NFL team gets their way and gets their wish, and the politicians all kowtow to the NFL teams. So I think they will get that stadium, so maybe things do change a bit. 855-212-4CBS. Now, other options here for franchises that are bad right now that could have a sunny outlook. New England Patriots.
I don't see how.
Me neither. And because the guy after the guy with Belichick, if they do indeed move on, good luck there.
There's just no talent. I mean, and you need a quarterback. It's not coming soon. You could get a quarterback this year, but who's he throwing to? Who's on defense that's young and up and coming? I know they got a good cornerback, but Judon he's got to be their best player is getting over the hill. I don't see any hope there.
And the New York Giants. Man, he just did a fist pump. Feel the one thing about the Giants is I think you have a good general manager, but early returns. It was like they'd signed Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, and Jerry Rice all in the same offseason when it was actually just Paris Campbell and Darren Waller.
Oh, you think that's funny?
I do think it's funny. I think it's funny because there are a lot of Giant fans that are really excited. The Giants are a weird situation because in some ways you do have the asset of Daniel Jones. Like we talk about Kyler Murray and Justin Fields. Daniel Jones, that's a little more complicated.
It's an asset. He just tore his ACL.
Well, no, but I think that there will be teams that will say, hey, this is a guy that could potentially be our starter. Maybe these teams are kind of these middling teams. I think there's a chance that you take a flyer on him, potentially maybe after June 1st, someone makes a trade.
6th round pick, though, right? Not a high pick.
I mean, is he going for that much more than Kyler Murray is?
Well, people are afraid of the money, too.
Yeah, Murray's deal is longer.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So,
but no, I don't think you'd get anything. You get a 5th or a 6th round pick for Daniel Jones at this point because of the injury and the money. I would think.
I think he may go for more than that.
I don't think he had a market.
Quarterbacks, they go for way more than we think.
I don't think he had a market this offseason. I think he got, well, I just praised the Giants GM, but I'm gonna flip that right now because they messed up the Daniel Jones thing. Now, they didn't give him a lot of years. It's basically 2 years guaranteed, but they should have franchised Jones and probably given a little bit more money to Barkley.
I just think the Giants, of all the teams, I think they have the most NFL starters of the guys the team that we're talking about, and maybe not so much on offense, but defensively, Dexter Lawrence is a stud. Kayvon Thibodeau has had a pretty good year. Okereke. I think that Deontay Banks as a corner is really good. Like, they have players defensively. Their offense needs to be completely remade.
Yeah, the Patriots too, though. Patriots do have a good defense, but that's also a little Belichick magic. I mean, that's his side of the ball.
Coaching. I think, though, you got to look at recent history, though, of all these teams. Every other team we mentioned, except really, I guess maybe Chicago, has had success in the last 10 years. The Giants have been the bottom of the barrel.
That's true.
I mean, there's got to be something institutional going wrong, because how many years have they? Last year was a blip. It was and I was wrong because I thought they were going to be good this year. Easy schedule, but generally, I think they've been over the last 10 years. If they're not the worst team, they're close to it. So there's got to be a reason. And even when they do have these good players, they don't seem to put it all together, and then they lose the good players or they disappoint. So I don't feel much hope there at all. Although I do like their tanking right now. Putting Tommy DeVito out there is a full let's get Cale Billy.
Don Bosco prep legend Tommy DeVito.
Clearly they didn't. That's a local high school. Clearly they didn't think that Matt Barkley had the same type of Josh Dobbs energy. Like, we can't sign this guy on Wednesday and then he could be starting on Sunday.
Barkley to Barkley is fun, though.
You
would
think that.
Barkley to Barkley.
You would get a kick out of that. Well,
Barkley rolls out. He finds Barkley.
There's already Wilson to Wilson, and you don't talk about that.
Because we rarely see it. Because Zach Wilson can't complete a pass.
Yeah.
It's more sad than anything. 855-212-4CBS. Dan is in Rochester. Has got a thought on Justin Fields. Good morning, Dan.
Morning. I think Justin Fields should go to either of the New York teams. Ideally, either one would be good, but Fields and Bryce Hall, Fields and and Barkley, I think would be solid.
Dan, it's not a bad thought. Thank you so much. The Jets are going to have Aaron Rodgers back next year, right? So would they also bring in Justin Fields?
He'd be the Wilson replacement.
Right.
Yeah. No, Aaron Rodgers loves that. He's real happy when you take a quarterback with your first round pick instead of something that'll help him.
Well,
I mean, we've seen what happens in the past. Maybe it'll make him be an MVP again if they draft a quarterback, just like Jordan Love.
I don't hate it necessarily for the Jets because Rodgers is such a short-term solution.
Don't you understand? Get it through your heads, Jets fans. They don't want another quarterback. They want to go down the ship for the next decade with Aaron Rodgers. Why did they probably could have traded for Justin Fields now? They just don't want anybody else.
Robert Saleh is still trying to figure out how to answer why Zach Wilson still has to keep playing.
Yeah, we'll get back to him in 6 weeks. And then for the Giants, the irony there is that the Giants traded the pick, right, to the Bears. The Bears traded up to get Justin Fields, and that was a Giants pick.
Kadarius Toney.
That gave him a future
who's
first rounder.
So talented and such a knucklehead, but B, can't stay healthy. So the Giants are clearly drafting a quarterback. There's no doubt about that.
That's what I would say to Dan. It's like, would the Giants trade for Fields, who you're going to have to pay pretty soon, or would you just start over with a rookie?
Yeah, it's a salary cap.
Yeah.
That's why they have to start over with a rookie. So what is Daniel Jones getting next year? $40 million?
Yeah.
I think you have to eat that and go for one of these top quarterbacks.
Can we find a home for Justin Fields? Who's the team?
I have the team in my head automatically. Falcons, easy.
From Atlanta, Georgia guy.
I think, I don't love Arthur Smith, but I think that if you're going to have a quarterback run that system, I think he would be a pretty good fit.
Well, I don't think Arthur Smith will be there.
Right, I doubt that too, but if somehow he was still there, I think that Fields actually fits in that offense.
I'll play the counter argument to that. You need a point guard to distribute the ball to all your other stars, where Justin Fields is also a star. He's also a shooting guard. He needs his carries. So the more your quarterback runs, the less Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts get them. I mean, Kyle Pitts is probably not going to be part of this plan. So I think maybe you could say, well, let's get Brock Purdy in there, a guy who can just throw a 5-yard pass, where Justin Fields is so dynamic, throws a great deep long ball, and he's such a great runner. I don't know that that's who they want.
That would be innovative, though, if you had Fields with Robinson and Tyler Algier, if he's, the Like that kind of running attack.
That's what I'm thinking.
Wild.
Like similar to what we have in Baltimore with
Right.
Lamar and all those running backs. I know J.K. Dobbins is getting hurt.
Big Gus Edwards.
That would be no, but I mean they've had other guys. They had Mark Ingram in the past. Like their running attack has been enhanced because of having someone like Lamar Jackson. So
right, but I mean that's the place where receivers go to die, though. That's the problem. A guy like
it's Drake London. Who else? I mean, again, Kyle Pitts.
Well, Drake London was a number 8 pick, and Kyle Pitts is basically a receiver, was a number 5 pick. I think you want somebody who's going to get the most of them. Lamar Jackson, receivers, basically he's going to tuck the ball 10 times a game. That's 10 targets that the receivers are not getting. That's the issue. I like it. I'm just sort of playing devil's advocate here. Where I think Kyle Pitts, that's not going to happen, right? We're all done on that.
It has been very disappointing. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Justin Fields' future, you're welcome to weigh in on. Also, the bad team now that's got the best outlook. Who are you actually excited about here? You get a quarterback, maybe you change things around next season. You know how the NFL is. There's always a worst to first team. Coming up, speaking of worst, it's a terrible idea that's going on. It's being floated out there by a certain league. Just terrible. We cannot find the redeeming qualities in this awful idea. Maybe you can help us. Maybe. 855-212-4CBS. We'll tell you what it is next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So, a lot of debates going on right now. Who is the coolest athlete in sports? Came off of Wembanyama. Everyone's still killing me. What's the...
Yeah, because you put Amon-Ra St. Brown as like 3.
Yeah. What's the best situation for a very bad team? We both had to really, really scrape the bottom of the barrel. Maggie went Bears. I went Cardinals. I don't think either of us are totally comfortable with those choices.
No.
But you can weigh in 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I'm fascinated by your last tease, Maggie, because I wasn't sure what you were talking about exactly.
Okay, well, it's the worst idea in sports that's circulating right now. Well,
this better be good because there are a lot of bad ideas going
some
around.
Terrible ideas out there. This is one of them, and it actually comes with a bit of an update. But according to... Was this Scott Boras who floated this out yesterday?
Yes, correct. Scott Boras.
So it's coming from Boras, who believes that the World Series should be at a neutral site. I can't understand why anyone would think this is a good idea. For one game for the Super Bowl, which, by the way, people complain is already way too corporate, but for one game, I can understand you get a neutral site, right? College football national championship game or whatever. For a 7-game series, you're going to ask fans potentially to be somewhat random city for a week and a half? Thank you, Manny. You're going to go broke, first of all. So unless you're uber super rich, who's going to be able to afford hotels and tickets, and not just for a game or two, Perloff, but if you really want to be there to watch your team, you're going to have to plunk down some serious money.
I like it.
What?
I think the World Series desperately needs a reboot. Desperately. Obviously, you saw the ratings this year, all-time low. Was $9 million for the last game where the Eagles-Cowboys got $29 million. There's something wrong here. You need to make it more of an event. There was nothing that felt... The Diamondbacks-Rangers did not feel like an event. It didn't feel like the whole world is revolving around this. I think this is an interesting idea because it would make the World Series something special in a way that right now it kind of feels like just another series amongst the playoff series.
Okay, but so you're going to put it, College World Series, they go to Omaha, right?
Yeah.
And it's been there forever and it's got this established thing. But I also think that, I'm sure it's expensive to go there, but it wouldn't be nearly the price of these Major League Baseball tickets and hotels. You are really freezing out a lot of fans.
Who do you think is going to some of these? The Phillies tickets in the LCS were hugely expensive.
I know, but at least for the most part, there aren't a lot of Philadelphia fans who live outside of Philadelphia. Let's call it what it is. So at least you don't have to pay for potential lodging on top of it, right?
Well,
it's just the ticket and the parking and the other ways they get gouged.
You play in a huge stadium, and I think it gives some opportunities to some fans. I don't think a lot of fans... I think the Rangers tickets are expensive, too. I'm not sure that every fan is getting access to these World Series games like you think they are. I think those are pretty corporate, too. And I don't think there's a great loss here. Make it in Vegas for a week. Play in Allegiant Stadium if they can fit baseball. I don't know what you do with the Raiders.
They're building a new stadium there, right, where the A's are going to play, but it's small.
Yeah,
it's going to be a small stadium.
I think it would add an event feel to it because right now I don't sense an event feel around the World Series.
Okay, but the event's going to last for a long time. I mean, keeping up that energy. Even the World Cup has multiple different venues that it goes to. What?
I like that idea, too.
You're going to play one game in each city? like all around the country or something? It's like a traveling circus, a Savannah Bananas.
I mean, what is your memory really of this year's World Series? When you think back 10 years from now, you think, hey, tell me about the 2023 World Series. I think it's going to be hard to grasp on anything.
I know, but what if I'm just a fan and I'm still just going to watch it on TV? Does having it in Las Vegas make it more memorable to me? I don't think so.
I can't make it less memorable.
Well, you might have a point there. Listen, to be fair to baseball, they've tried things and they've been trying things to speed the game up. And I think a lot of those things have worked. I think having the games be faster has worked. But to me, neutral field for the World Series does not solve any of your problems. That doesn't make Diamondbacks Rangers any more appealing than it was this time around. The reason why that series was not appealing is because these teams, the fan bases don't go back generations and generations. And I think they didn't have a lot of really great stories and stars.
I think every World Series has been going down. I think that there's been a strong trend of viewership going down. Think about the Super Bowl. If last year's Super Bowl was in Philadelphia and not Arizona, I think a home field is a little bit less of an event than actually having it in a neutral field. I think it's working for the Super Bowl. And we make fun of Super Bowl week. Nobody cares where the media is and all that. But I do think it adds to the hype and all the events around this. And you get the superstars in and you can plan it all in advance. And there are giant statues and things everywhere. I think baseball could do that and make it much more exciting. Even though it's all tangential to what's happening on the field, I think you can make it much more of a big feel event.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Well, I can tell you this much. This is not going to be a topic that is going to be talked about at the general managers' meetings that are going on right now in Arizona. And that is because those meetings have ended early because of a stomach flu that has turned the GM meetings into the GI meetings. This, at first, was maybe thought to be a food poisoning, something that happened at the buffet on Tuesday.
Oh, something nefarious? Something like, Connor Stallions like?
Gosh, I hope not. Something like Airplane, the movie Airplane. Like, did you have the fish? It turns out, though, that some people have gotten sick who did not eat at the buffet. So now out of the 300 officials, 30 or more have been stricken with this awful stomach bug, including 4 different officials from the New York Yankees alone.
Of course.
Just listening to Brian Cashman and suddenly have the urge to vomit.
Yeah, that made me want to throw
Maybe
up.
the owner. Meanwhile, this is getting ugly out here. Everyone's been locked in the toilet. All the GMs can't get any work done.
After Brian Cashman 80 said that was pretty effing good.
Yeah, right. He thinks they are pretty effing good. Yeah. These guys are I'm sorry to laugh. It doesn't look like anyone's in real danger. I just can't believe the year 2023. What happened? The general managers meetings got called off because everyone had the poops.
You know, imagine like the player that really was like either scared or excited to be traded maybe in the next few days, and now they're like, oh, that's gonna have to wait.
Wait, I have a question. Is this the one where all the deals happen, or is that? I thought that was December.
That's the winter meetings.
Well,
okay,
okay,
this is like the
that?
precursor to that.
Oh, so this okay? Can you make deals now? You could, I assume, or is it?
Yeah,
legal tampering.
Wait, when does it actually? Oh, is it free agency? Has it begun?
That they're talking about things now.
Yeah, you lay the groundwork. Then you at the owners' meetings, you posture a little more.
I saw Dodgers minus 150 on Shohei. It's happening. It's happening.
I believe that. 855-212-4CBS. Adrian's in Maryland. Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Happy Friday Eve, guys. Maggie, I was floating this the idea with the baseball and the neutral side as well, but you did make a great point as far as the money. But it's a week vacation. How about that? I like the neutral site vacation, not vacation, but World Series because of the weather. That's the only thing I was thinking about. Just because, you know, New York gets in there and it's freezing cold. I hate watching freezing cold baseball. So I guess that's my.
Yeah, Adrian, it's so funny. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're cutting in and out. Adrian, you know we love you. I agree with him on this point. I think watching a football game in the cold weather, it's like, oh, this could be fun. You know, football weather, you're all bundled up, you're tailgating in the parking lot. You put me at a cold baseball game, most miserable experience of my life. I don't want to watch in April, or I don't want to watch early baseball, and I hate watching baseball in the cold. Football, I don't mind. What's the difference? You're still standing out there at a stadium.
I don't know. I kind of mind the cold.
Yeah,
too. I like that nice press box.
For me, put every stadium, make it a retractable roof. In all sports.
Too, yeah.
Like I don't need to see cold football. I don't need to see snow games. Snow games often suck.
I'm not a fan either, but it's funny. My tolerance, though, for a cold football game is high. My tolerance for a cold baseball game, no shot. Peter, you go to a lot of games. You mind the cold?
For football, absolutely not. I would love going Black Friday, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I agree with you about the baseball. Like baseball in April,
it's miserable.
Sitting,
it's a no-go. I agree with that.
It's like your body is not programmed. Like baseball, like in your head says baseball is supposed to be played when it's nice out.
Right.
Football, I have no problem. In fact, we go into one of the outdoor hockey games too. So give me that too.
It's funny.
I've been to those too.
I hold a cold beer at a baseball game in April, makes me colder. I hold a cold beer at a football game in December. I'm like, I'm warm up. This is great. Meanwhile, we have some headlines.
We
Peter,
do.
Good morning.
And we'll begin with the Nuggets looking to stay perfect at home this season.
Denver basketball underneath. Shot clock reset to 14. Inbound lob over to Nikola Jokic. He drives in on Looney. Little floater. Good. 33 for Nikola Jokic. Nuggets back in the lead by 2, 99-97. First one to 100 wins.
That was Jason Kosmicki on Nuggets Radio. Nikola Jokic, 35 points, 13 rebounds, and the Nuggets beat the Warriors 108-105 to improve to 6-0 at home and 8-1 overall. Now to Philadelphia.
8 to shoot. They go to Joel. One-on-one with Tatum to the left of the key. 4 to shoot. Backing, turning, fade away from the wing is good. What a shot. The touch by Embiid. He's talking smack to Sam Cassell. Cassell now on the Celtics bench. Take that, Sammy. Sixers take a lead of 6 with 38 seconds to go.
That was Tom McGinnis on Sixers Radio. Sixers over the Celtics 106-103. Joel Embiid, 27 points, 10 boards. We talked about this last hour. Nets over the Clippers, 100-93. Here was the play of the game, and it was made by Nets play-by-play announcer Ian Eagle on Yes.
This rejection by Paul George. Harden, that's coming my way. I got it. Unbelievable. I could see it from the beginning. Ed, you take over, my friend. That might have been my greatest call in NBA history. I knew it from the second it left his hand. Yep. Knew it. I also have tea all over my lap.
I get coffee all over my...
Yeah, James Harden just said, hey, welcome back.
Ian Eagle with Syracuse.
See, that's what made me think that Ian thought it might have been intentional. Because he's like, I knew it the whole time. It was coming my way. Yup. Harden saying welcome back. Like that he was throwing it in the general direction of Nets people.
Yeah. It actually, he didn't catch it. It looks like on the video, he doesn't catch it cleanly. He get hit off, I think it's of Sarah's laptop or something, and then into him. But he made it still a good scoop on that. A good play. You see, I would have kept the ball. Like to me, like how many times is that going to happen to a broadcaster where the ball comes, I would have wanted to keep the ball.
Wait a minute, you're going to keep the ball and while they're playing, you have to hand it back to the referee.
You think that's the only ball that they have for an NBA game?
You just hold it? You'd stop the game?
I wouldn't want to give it back. Cause a scene.
Matt Ishbia, I mean, he caused a whole situation. He almost got Jokic suspended for trying to hold the basketball.
I was at the Knicks game the other day on the court. EJ didn't want to go with me.
Subtle brag.
The guy next to me caught the ball. 4 security guards came out of nowhere and screamed towards him and said, "You better give that ball back immediately," because they're afraid the fans are going to run away with the ball.
Ian, though. They wouldn't do that to Ian.
Yeah, you're right. He's not a fan. But why would Ian keep that basketball? What does he care about that?
Ian sits at
That's like a
courtside
piece of history.
for 100 games.
He's doing He's doing the Final Four this year.
I get it, but I'm just saying, it's like that would be pretty cool to keep the basketball.
That is the
like James
worst
Harden's
history.
to a basketball.
First of all, we're 2 games into the Clippers experiment, and you can see on that play, James Harden has already given up on this season. This experiment already failed. I mean, they just got demolished by the Knicks and the Nets. Anyway.
Honestly, I feel like if you keep the basketball, you've now tainted the game. Because anybody who plays basketball knows that that game ball gets picked by both teams, and they decide the feel for it, the air, they all like it. If you decide, I'm going to take this basketball, and then you're going to have them pick another basketball, the rest of the game is tainted.
Well, the other part, too, is like the game would have to stop, and everyone would be looking at Ian Eagle. Like, why is Ian Eagle, why won't he give the ball
who
back?
Who would call the game? He would have to lead the arena then, right?
I know they'd be dragging him out of there. No, Ian's a pro. I think Ian was kind of telling us without telling us. He's the best play-by-play guy. So good.
Yeah.
That he's kind of telling us that he thought it might have been intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at it, he was so far away. If he was trying to hit him, why didn't he do it from closer? Anyway.
It was all the way across.
And I got to say one more thing. You got to spice up a Nets game because that is one boring roster. Because I watched that game. Oh, my God. Is there nothing going on with that franchise?
Well,
Sorry.
it's a dark building, too.
Oh, the Barclays.
You don't like Mikal Bridges? You're from Philly. Didn't he go to
I love
Nova?
Mikal Bridges, but he shouldn't be your one.
Well, that's called a rebuild.
Yeah. That arena will always have a negative feeling because that's where the Islanders went for a couple of years, and it was just such a horrible place to see a hockey game. Like, I just can't feel good about that.
Yeah,
place.
Victor Wembanyama said the Garden is the greatest basketball arena in the world. No one's saying that about Barclays Center.
No, not at all. Well, he was rocking for the Liberty games, though, in the playoffs. They had a good atmosphere for that. But
there you go.
NFL Week 10 begins tonight in Chicago. Panthers head coach Frank Reich was asked to put on his meteorologist hat.
Does it change the way you call the game? I mean, I looked at the weather. It's supposed to be pretty decent. There'll be winds will be in the teens, so it'll be a little bit of a factor, but not a huge factor.
Frank Reich going after Al Roker's job.
No, this is Perloff's territory. We call Perloff the sad dad. All he wants to do is talk about weather and traffic.
When we say Maggie calls me that. Nobody else in my life calls me that.
Royal we.
Kickoff tonight, 8:15 Eastern Time. Al Michaels gets angry at 8:16 Eastern Time. College football, Virginia at number 11 Louisville tonight. Baseball, the Angels name Ron Washington their new manager. Hockey will start in Toronto.
Back to the point. Here's Chikrin. On the boards to Tarasenko. Back to Chikrin. To the corner. Centering pass. Scores! Deflected in front by Giroux. Ottawa takes a 4-3 lead.
That was the call on Senators radio. Senators beat the Leafs 6-3. You also had an overtime game. The Panthers over the Capitals 4-3. And the Kings beat the Golden Knights 4-1.
Peter, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
We've been asking about the Neutral Site World Series, which seems like an awful idea to me. Quinn is in Austin, Texas. It must be fun to be a guy named Quinn in Austin right now. Hey, how you doing? Quinn, you there?
Congratulations on your move to the morning draw.
Thank you so much, Quinn. What's on your mind, pal?
Well, I know Perloff still dad jokes in his thing. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposition. Maybe we could consider Game 7 only at a neutral site to kind of spice it up a little bit.
Huh. Listen, no bad ideas.
That'd be really wild to play everything at home and then go Game 7. What if you don't get to a Game 7, Quinn?
Well, then, all bets are off. I guess it would be a special occasion. The other bit is from the worst to first standpoint, when we think about the Chicago Bears as long-suffering native of the Chicagoland area, I think ever since Jim McMahon and Super Bowl Shuffle and the Fridge, the ownership group does not like flash. They are they like smash mouth, have their thumb on everything, as evidenced by choices like Dave Wanstead. I think until that philosophy changes, you're going to have a hard time making that kind of transformational leap. And I'll hang up and listen to your thoughts. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Quinn, I had not thought about that. That this is like a Bears, the philosophy is they don't like flash, so they want just something. But, it's funny because even if you don't go into something saying I want flash, you could get it. Like Mike Ditka was not flashy, but he became this sort of an iconic coach.
Yeah.
He was a great player, too.
No, Chicago, they have to be tough. Monsters of the Midway, it's sort of this whole ethos of the city is not a high-flying air raid attack. That's Texas. That's Florida. That's California. I think Chicago has to be tough football. So that's sort of part of the problem. That's why they have not had a good quarterback ever.
Yeah.
I mean, going back, the last good quarterback they had was my guy Sid Gilman in 1946.
And he was a star.
McMahon really never got his career going, in part because he got hurt. But it's a really tough spot to be a quarterback. We've made that joke before, but I think there is something real there.
What about Chudzinski? Was he a Bears coach?
The guy, the Browns coach?
The Browns coach, sorry. Wasn't he their offensive coordinator, maybe? No, I'm thinking of Mark Trestman. I'm sorry.
I ghost wrote a column for Mark Trestman one year at Sports Illustrated. Great guy.
Really?
Mad genius. Totally.
Offensive guy.
Totally. I mean, it's a longtime offensive coordinator at Stanford, all these, Bill Walsh acolyte. He was trying to come to Chicago and make a passing attack, and he just couldn't do it. You can't. It never ever works.
You ghost wrote a column for him? What was?
Yeah, I've done that many times in my life. Is ghost wrote columns for coaches.
Yeah.
Mark Trestman was great. He would break it down in a way that I didn't understand at all. He's like,
I'm glad you were writing his pieces for him.
yeah, no, and honestly, I've heard other NFL people say, "Wow, Mark Trestman's really smart, but I don't understand what he's talking about." And that's other coaches. Imagine me trying to figure out, him explaining route trees. Nope.
Like, all right, so I'm sorry, where's the tight end supposed to line up again?
There's a great joke, by the way. Are you 30 Rock fans?
Yes.
Love 30 Rock.
There was a character who was from Canada, and he was all excited because he wanted to book Mark Trestman, was currently the Montreal Alouettes coach, and he said, "Can we get Mark Trestman on the show?" And only only me got that. Anyway, because he took a turn with the Alouettes. How do we get on to Mark Trestman? Oh, the point is,
the Bears and offense.
Let me ask you guys: if you're Team Caleb Williams, you're one of his marketing guys. Do you want him to go to Chicago? It's a huge city, but I wonder about the weather, the division, the history. I might rather go to Arizona, as bad as that franchise is.
No, I get wanting to play inside. I mean, that's no doubt. But think about it. This is tantalizing. If you're the person who turns around the Bears, right? Like, if you're the guy, you're the person who finally does it, you're immortal.
That's kind of fantasy, though. Yeah, if you're the guy, does that usually work out?
No. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We have figured out the stakes for our next show bet. We'll get those to you, and this is all based on the Michigan sign stealing scandal. So we'll get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. If you're stuck in a timeshare and want out, you got to contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. We check in on the Michigan sign stealing scandal. Let's go to Maze and Clue.
I got a one-track mind. I'm not going to be speculating. Can let others speculate that.
It's time for Maze and Clue.
We check in with wannabe spy Connor Stallions and the scandal. Allegedly, one of the details we found out about the man at the center of this brouhaha was that he believed that at one point he was being targeted by a neighbor because the neighbor had a kid who went to Michigan State.
Facts. That's the one thing I buy in this whole crazy story.
So he sicked the Homeowners Association on Connor Stallions. Tried to get him to clean up the defunct vacuum cleaners that were hanging on his porch because he was running an illegal side business out of his condo. Got all that?
Okay. Didn't see that.
Didn't
see that coming.
Vacuum cleaners.
Yeah, by the way, I totally understand it.
Yep.
Vacuum cleaners are incredibly expensive now. We had to pay over $1,000, I think, for...
What?
They
are expensive.
They're crazy. I actually was thinking about looking up his website to see if he has any good deals on one.
You know what is a workaround? I think a dust buster is just way better, but then you got to be bent over.
I had one, and we never charged it, so every time you need it, something spills, it's got no battery. Someone did tweet me that recently someone got a refurbished vacuum and there was a dead cat inside of it.
Oh my God.
So I want to, I guess
awful.
there's a scale of what kind of refurbished vacuum you're going to get.
If it came from Connor Stallions, this guy needs to be checked into some type of institution.
Yeah. I'm actually proud of Connor Stallions that he's trying to put all this together. I mean, this little guy is out there. He's busting his butt to make Michigan a better football program. And those Michigan State neighbors, they can't stop him.
I know. And whether he's conjured all this up in his mind, we don't know. But that's also a possibility. No, listen, he was definitely trying to do what we've heard a lot of in the past, which is the assistant coach has to be the whipping boy person. They've got to sleep on the floor of the office.
Yeah.
You know, they get paid nothing. They can eat nothing but tuna fish out of the can for like 3 years. And there's this sort of like pride, I think, that goes along with working from the bottom all the way up to the top when you're not a former player.
But I think we disagree on what should happen with this program. But will you guys at least agree with me? This is one of the funnier scandals we've ever had in our lives.
Oh, that's a strong agree.
Yeah,
strong
it is.
Agree.
And I think it's really important for certain Big Ten fans. It's really important in Michigan. It's really important in Ohio. But for the rest of us, I do think part of it we should sit back and enjoy it because this guy is coming up with details you could never have anticipated. Vacuum cleaners, it's great.
Yeah, so there actually are some real life stakes on this, Perloff. You might think that we're innocent bystanders, but you would be extremely wrong because we have a show bet based on how Michigan performs this year. And there's no doubt that the scandal plays into this, at least the psyche, perhaps, of the players. Now, our show bet is thus. EJ and I believe that at some point this scandal will take its toll in a negative way against Michigan. And by that, we do not think that Michigan is going to win a game in the college football playoff. Now, first, they got to get there. But if they do, we do not think they're going to win a game in the college football playoff. Perloff, and it was Carlos, actually, who was on the board this day. Manny's here now. But you do think that this has nothing to do, this will not play in at all to the psyche of the players, and they will win a game in the college football playoff.
Yes. I think the bet's a little tough because they have not gotten to the college football playoff yet. But my point was, I think they can win football games without having the signs. And I don't think it'll be distraction. I think they're so talented. They're a really good team that they can actually break through and finally win a Final Four game. This is the year where they've been hitting their head against the wall in these playoffs. This is the year they bust through.
Okay, so when we do eventually get to the college football playoff and when we have a winner and a loser in this bet, we have figured out the stakes. And this is in honor of Ric Flair coming to address the Michigan football team, the ultimate heel, as the Wolverines have now turned heel because they are the villains in this scandal. Whoever loses has to wear spandex, a wrestling singlet, for the whole show.
Pro wrestling singlet, by the way. Not
like Big Show.
Not the amateur one that they do college wrestling, not Kyle Dake and all that. That short shorts. So you have to wear the guy who's about to get killed by the star shows up like, and Mike Fisher, and then he just gets walloped.
Listen,
that singlet.
It's got to be
Brooklyn Brawler type.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got to be spandex. It's got to be tight, and you got to sit in it for the whole show.
Well, I assume it's going to have to be tight. Otherwise, it'll fall right off, right? You can't have a loose singlet.
I'm just painting the picture for the audience. Whoever loses has got to wear it. So there's the stakes on the bet. You can also go vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl. The poll question was, will there be an asterisk next to Michigan if they do win the title? Talk about fast forwarding things. But if they win the title, will this have an asterisk on it because of the sign stealing scandal?
Yeah, I'm fine with all this. I'm in. Okay, I'll even go so far. I'll bet now that Michigan wins a playoff game. Obviously, can I wait till Sunday? Can I just make sure they get through Penn State?
You've already bet that they're going to win a playoff.
I'm just a little nervous about Penn State.
Did you not hear me with the spandex situation? You've already bet, my friend.
They can beat Penn State. They can lose to Penn State, and then if they beat Ohio State, they're still in. So, okay, I feel better now. I just don't want to lose this by Sunday.
You should have thought about that before.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You're grown adult.
So, but there also should be odds, in my opinion. I think I'm happy to wear the singlet, but I think you guys should have to do something even worse if you lose this bet.
How?
Why? We're going to also wear the singlet.
3-1 odds. I mean,
that they win a game.
That they win a game. Yeah, I mean, they have to first get there, and then they have to win the game. Right, I don't think this is an even bet. I think you guys have to not only wear the singlets, I think we have to put a twist on it if you lose this one.
Wait, but hold on.
Totally disagree
we're
with this.
both betting that they're going to make it. It's just whether or not they win a game or lose a game. No?
Yeah. I mean, I think they have to make it.
If they don't make it, then the bet has to change.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not giving you odds on jack squat.
If it's actually a Final Four matchup and they get to the Final Four, then I'm confident.
The loser wears the spandex. 855-212-4CBS. And will there be an asterisk against Michigan if they win it all? But it's with the sign stealing scandal in the ether. Coming up is one NFL team panicking.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Michigan mounting a defense here, not against Penn State. They will do that on Saturday. This is against the accusations about sign stealing. What's funny, Perloff, is like they're not really disputing anything that Connor Stallions, the guy in the middle of the scandal, did.
Yeah.
What they're basically saying is you're not giving us due process here. You've got to wait until this whole thing plays out. which could not happen during the season.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, it would be much easier to put up a defense against Penn State's offense right now than these allegations.
That's true.
They fired Stallions, so Stallions is out of the building.
He resigned.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
They basically, in their report, they said that Stallions is no longer here. And they actually said that's one of the reasons you should not come down on us now, which I don't totally understand. Yeah, I know. It's a little weak. There were some weak aspects of their defense. One of the main things I keep saying is, hey, we're going to bring everyone else down. They had our signs, too. I think that's a valid reason. I know you're calling it whataboutism, but I do think there is some validity to that. How egregious is this really if everybody's doing it?
Well, I think they realized that Connor Stallions was going to these games, he was breaking the rules, and he was doing something that definitely gave Michigan an advantage. You know, the other schools potentially having Michigan's signs, we don't really know when. We don't have dates. Like Connor Stallion, we've got ticket receipts. We've got StubHub receipts. We've got, maybe he was on the sideline of Central Michigan. We still don't know that. But you can have dates and times and data points. I feel like for the other part of this, which is the other teams in the Big Ten sharing Michigan signs, allegedly, we don't know exactly when, who, what weeks did they have them, were they
right, but the end result was the same.
Well, but for how, was it? And did they have the right signs?
I don't know. I saw the sheet with the Michigan signs, and obviously Ohio State not going to not use that.
I don't know. I think there's so much more to still be determined about that part of the investigation. And sure, investigate that. Do it. But we know with Michigan, there's enough smoking gun evidence here that rules were broken. And to think that Harbaugh didn't know is beyond the pale. Doesn't pass the common sense test.
But the other part of this, so they set an advanced scout. I mean, we're talking death penalty for that? Who cares?
Well, that's
it's
a different
a minor
argument.
infraction.
See, that's a different argument. And I think that's where it depends who you talk to about who thinks.
It's funny. People in Ohio think it is the worst thing that could ever happen. People in other states don't care.
No, well, how much of an advantage or, how much you were able to benefit from this. Now, that's something that feels like there's opinions on that sway between different college football coaches and players from a little to a lot. Meanwhile, the rule being broken, there's no gray area there.
They broke the rule, definitely.
Broke the rule. So
but
there you go.
if Michigan wasn't the number 2 team in the country, or I don't know if they're 2 or 3, in AP, they're basically the second best team. And if they didn't have Jim Harbaugh as a coach, if this was any minor program or even mid-level big conference team doing this, it wouldn't even barely make a headline.
Well, but also they probably would get punished.
Yeah, punished.
This is at least,
I mean, and when you say punishment, it would be so minor that wouldn't even make a headline.
Well, this might still be minor too. I mean, the fact that is Michigan definitely plays into it because you can't hide when you're Michigan. You can't hide when you're Alabama. You can't hide when you're Georgia. These are the teams, Texas. These are the teams that we do care about.
True.
So you benefit from that when you're Michigan, and you're going to get the wrath when you are found to do something wrong.
Right, but it speaks to the severity of the penalty. If this happened and it was, let's say Maryland, or let's say Vanderbilt, or some lesser program, they take a scholarship away and fine them $100,000, and it would be a side note. It would not be this massive story. So ultimately, the crime is not that bad, but because they're Michigan, the crime is getting elevated into this James Bond evil villain conspiracy plot, and Connor Stallions, who knows what kind of things he was doing, disguises and proteges, and different Connor Stallions clones are showing up. This is all because of Michigan. I just don't think the original penalty is bad at all.
Okay, well,
it's
again,
barely a slap on the wrist is merited here.
Well, again, that is Michigan's, I would say, fault for hiring this guy. I mean, was this the first time they had ever thought, I wonder what Connor's up to? I'm sure there may have been some signs previously that this dude was all in a way that may have been a little compromising for the program. The other part, too, is, I think it's not just about Michigan. That does play a bit because it's like a glamour program in college football, but also because look at how well they've been doing since this sign-stealing saga allegedly started. This was a program that had Jim Harbaugh take a pay cut. The vultures were circling. The alumni were ticked off. This was not a given that Jim Harbaugh was going to be a success, and then all of a sudden they turned it around. Now you could say, well, they got J.J. McCarthy and they finally got a quarterback. Okay, maybe that's part of it. They got Aiden Hutchinson.
And Blake Corum came back too.
Okay, but still, there was a struggle that happened for Michigan, and then they turned it around. And now we're seeing that the sign stealing happened right around the time of the turnaround. It's not nothing.
You could also argue their draft, they've gotten better and better and better. They're moving higher up the NFL draft board. So they're clearly getting more NFL players in there. And also Jim Harbaugh, he's had a lot of success in his career. He got to a Super Bowl in the NFL, had incredible success in college before he got to Michigan. So you can't say he did this all because of sign stealing. He obviously can coach.
I didn't say all. I'm just saying that the timing of this, I think, also adds to the intrigue.
So if they beat Ohio State again, are you willing to let go of that argument? He's not going to have any sign advantage there.
No, I don't know. I mean, that could be because, Ohio State has played some really tight games. I think this is going to be a tight game. They play tight games against good teams. They're not blowing people out. And their quarterback is not as good as J.J. McCarthy. Kyle McCord does not have the experience.
Right. So it's quality of team. It's not because of sign stealing. I totally I'm playing devil's advocate here to an extent. I can't imagine that the sign stealing was so egregious. Then again, there is the TCU game where TCU changed their signs and shocked Michigan. Nobody had TCU winning that game. So there could be something. I think.
And TCU member said, we did this on purpose. We knew they had our signs and we kind of baited them into it. And then they're celebrating after.
I wonder, this is so much bulletin board material for those Michigan players. They need to prove that they can do this without the signs. Maybe that makes them tight, but maybe it makes them so fired up. They're going to come out, not that you need any motivation for Ohio State, but they're going to come out like a house on fire for that game.
Well, Penn State first.
I'm not taking Penn State seriously.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's in Penn State. That's the scary thing.
The one thing about Penn State, and it's just a little more the X's and O's, are you going to be able to have any explosive plays against Michigan? Because you haven't had any explosive plays. And, this is a defense in Michigan that's really good. So that's my question.
I think I understand what you're saying, but when you think back to the big games that James Franklin has won, you're going to be thinking for a long time because they don't exist. So I just think this is a big game, and James Franklin has not done well. He's an amazing recruiter. He has not done well in this situation.
No.
If you want to watch the show, there's two ways you can do it. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. In our chat, the weirdos and the coffee drinkers are hanging out. RK Paris says, sign stealing is the equivalent of card counting in Vegas. Ask the casinos how quote-unquote nothing that is. Do you see sign stealing as card counting? Card counting is a little...
So does that mean, keep in mind, everybody is sign stealing in college football.
Yeah, not everyone's card counting.
Yeah, card counting I think is a little rare. And the other thing, you and I, the four of us right now could figure out what some of these signs are because they're open. They're on television. That's the funny thing about this. Everyone says, Michigan signs were out there. Ohio State got Michigan signs. Well, those were taken off TV. Well, it's so easy to take the signs. What big difference does it make if they're in person or not?
Meanwhile, the bet for our show on how far Michigan goes this year, and if they make it to the college football playoff, do they win a game? Do they not win a game? The stakes of the bet are the loser has to wear a wrestling spandex. This is in honor of Ric Flair going to Michigan. Whole programs turned heel, so why not have Ric Flair come? And our own CBS Sports Radio handle in the chat says, I feel like this isn't a punishment for Perloff.
Yeah,
wearing wrestling spandex would not be
I'm curious. I'm not going to lie to you. Kind of like the chili bet. Yeah, I'm curious what this would be like. I am a little bit worried. When I dress up as a soccer player, George Best, the famed Man United star, there was a bit of an issue in the lower regions.
Yeah.
Of sort of containing things.
Your shorts were extremely short.
Yeah, there was a blur job. Yeah. Now, I do worry.
That's funny.
I kind of worry about that singlet. That's
Say
not
that 5 times fast. A blur job.
Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it.
Good morning, everybody.
Things were blurred. Let's put it that way. With the singlet, that's the part, not my scrawny arms, not my scrawny legs. How do you sort of hide that part of your body?
Well, it's not like a thong.
Yeah, but I always see those wrestlers.
Give us 5 minutes.
Those
we got
loser
other
wrestlers,
coming.
I always notice. I'm like, that is not a good look. Oh, it is kind of like a thong. It's not that different.
It's not like Rikishi. It depends. Like you can get a singlet that goes down to like halfway down your thigh.
Like an old school one.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle wore a singlet.
Or Big Show. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that things will peek out of the bottom of this. It's not a Dirk Diggler situation. I'm saying
talking about the bulge.
I'm saying the bulge because it's so tight around that area. No,
you really think highly of yourself, Perloff.
EJ. No, that was EJ. I was not thinking about short shorts. I was thinking about
tight.
Yeah, it being too
United
tight.
Shorts.
They were also white. And the lights in here, it's just TV lighting. This is unforgiving. It's very bright. So anything white gets a little translucent.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there might be tape involved if I'm doing this.
Oh, boy.
And by the way, EJ, you laughed. This could be you just as easily.
Yeah, I know. This is me and EJ are in this
I wonder
together.
if Maggie, though, you're
Thelma
gonna,
and Louise, you and I going over the cliff, EJ.
I feel like, Maggie, you're going to dress like Jane Fonda in an 80s exercise video in a singlet. So I don't know. What does that mean for a woman to wear a singlet?
I mean, I'll figure out something. I'm going to pay it off. You guys know I always pay off my bets and my debts.
But is that about, you could do the Olivia Newton-John outfit. Why is that a bad thing for you?
It's still pretty skimpy. It's not something I would choose to wear.
But you get to wear a shirt underneath the
I do
singlet.
have to wear a shirt or else I might get escorted out of the building.
Otherwise, yes.
In handcuffs. Although I'd be a lot more popular on the internet.
Yeah, it'd make a great viral clip, but I don't know if the FCC will allow us to do this.
Yes. Well, it'd be theater of the mind. So...
Yeah. There's gonna be no theater of the mind if me or EJ has to wear the singlet. That's gonna be spelled out for you right there, right in center.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, got a change that's coming for one Super Bowl contender, but does it look a bit like a panic move? We're gonna get to that in just a moment. Maggie and Perloff and you on CBS Sports Radio. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. AutoZone's free battery testing and charging is available for free at your local AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. All you NFL fans out there like me, we're all going to be put to the test tonight. Can we find a reason to watch the Chicago Bears play the Carolina Panthers?
Why?
I mean, here's what I got for you. At least it's a football game. That's all I got.
It's a football game. We get salty Al Michaels. We get all of that. Meanwhile, tomorrow is going to be a big day for one of us. The more that we are learning about each other as we're starting the new show, and we'll get to the NFL Super Bowl contender that's panicking in just a minute, but the more we are learning about each other and getting to know each other on the show, we're learning more about each other's like strengths and weaknesses, or, you know, strengths or pitfalls.
Yep.
Turns out EJ has not been exposed to certain foods that are extremely popular in this country. Case in point, never had a McGriddle.
That is true.
Oh!
Never had one.
Thank you, Manny.
Oh, Manny,
Yeah,
wow.
I know. See?
Big McDonald's guy.
Yeah, they're not even a sponsor of the show. This is all free because obviously they could use it. But there was something else we found out, EJ, at breakfast yesterday that you've never had.
Yeah, I've never had Eggs Benedict.
Right.
Right.
I don't understand how you've been able to avoid it this long. Meanwhile, Eggs Benedict,
That I can see.
#1 seed when it comes to breakfast food.
I don't know. It's kind of complicated. If you want to do a #1 seed, don't you have to do something like eggs or bacon or pancakes?
It's got all of that. It's got eggs, it's got Canadian bacon, and it's got English muffin.
I'm not sure Eggs Benedict is as wildly popular as you think it is right now.
It's on every menu. You can get it at IHOP.
Eggs Benedict? I don't think that's a bestseller, is it?
Does everyone love hollandaise? Like, I don't like
See,
that's what kind of takes me out of it.
I actually like to substitute Bernaise for hollandaise.
I don't know.
but
I
that's
never
hard.
know the difference of those two.
Yeah, Bernaise would taste better. But Eggs Benedict, definitely #1 seed. And you can have variations. You could put smoked salmon on it, spinach if you're
Now,
trying
Eggs
to be healthy.
Benedict, so that's also a poached egg.
It is a
right?
poached egg,
See,
yeah.
I'm not. That's another thing. So there's 2 strikes against it for me. Why I haven't tried it. Hollandaise sauce,
Yeah.
and then poached egg. Probably the last option I choose for how to eat my eggs.
Really?
Yeah.
I think McGriddles are more popular than Eggs Benedict.
Well, probably.
yeah.
I mean, it's a McGriddles at McDonald's. So, yeah, probably. McDonald's is not doing Eggs Benedict yet.
Quick side note, I saw a story on the internet, 5 things to avoid at McDonald's from former McDonald's employees. I did not click on that, and I will
Do
never
not.
I will never click on that.
Well, spoiler alert, McRib's definitely probably
Yeah.
#1.
McRib will live in infamy. I don't know if anyone eats it, but
I would even put, I'm going to radical take care. I put a McGriddle over Eggs Benedict. I love Eggs Benedict, But the McGriddle has this advantage. When you get syrup on and you mix the salty and the sweet, there is nothing better in this world. It gives it, and these are both nearly perfect foods. I love Eggs Benedict too. But I think that you need bacon and you need sausage. You need a little bit more.
Well, there's Canadian bacon.
I know it's Canadian bacon. Yeah.
All right. So we found out things that EJ has not eaten yet, and we're going to try to rectify that soon. Peter, you look like you want to say something here.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a breakfast person. I like bagels, pancakes, plain, nothing on them.
What?
Like,
why would you have a plain
no
pancake?
eggs,
Wait,
nothing.
you're not a syrup person?
No, give me a plate of stack of giant pancakes as high as you want, not one drop of anything on it.
Just dry.
No
dry,
butter?
completely dry. Sausage on the side.
You're a madman.
What are you same with waffles?
I'm not. I don't really like waffles.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like
You'll
waffles?
find that
It's just really odd to like.
I know we've known each other a long time, but
Yeah.
you're going to find that we were going to work together a little bit here and
Yeah.
there when I fill in for Bogues. That I'm very strange with a lot of things.
Well, it's almost like you're saying I love ice cream, but I don't want the ice cream. Just give me the cone. It's like I'll just eat the cone.
I'd eat the ice cream without the cone.
So you're saying the syrup is the ice cream? I like that
like
analogy.
the syrup's kind of like it's the vehicle.
Yeah,
the cone is fine, but you don't get ice cream for the
this
cone.
blew somebody, a friend of the family. This blew her mind the other day too when I revealed this about pancakes.
I'm surprised.
Stack of pancakes, plain, nothing on it.
You're
I
not.
will literally like throw up if I see syrup on it.
Weird.
So what about like chocolate chip pancakes?
No, plain, nothing. No powdered sugar,
Listen,
nothing.
He
plain.
wants to eat rubber. Just let him eat it.
Plain
Just rubbery
pancakes.
Might be the worst take of the day.
It's
Well,
bad.
listen, it's my take. Then I'm fine with it.
I have to be honest. You don't look like somebody who's been avoiding breakfast to me.
Well,
like it looks
so
like
I make up for it the rest of the day.
I'm not saying you're overweight. You're a big
That's
guy.
right. Bring the fat guy into the
No, you're a
argument.
big guy.
That might have been the sickest burn Perloff's ever done on this show. You're not a mean person.
You're a big guy. You
Yes.
honestly like to eat. I know this because we've talked about it.
Oh yeah.
But how can breakfast is the best meal? Why would you not like to eat that?
Give me a plate of buffalo wings.
You're
Like
more
things
savory
happen.
guy.
I save the big stuff for later in the day.
But you're a savory guy, clearly. You're not
Yeah.
a sweets. You're a savory.
Yeah, it's like we go
I mean,
out
I
for
agree with him
breakfast.
on
My
that.
family
Like,
and I will go to a pancake house. We'll go to the diner, whatever, and I'll always order pancakes for breakfast. When we go out, I will always order pancakes, just nothing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think breakfast is like, I don't want to say overrated, but I would take dinner over breakfast every day of the week.
Well,
I like
dinner's a number one seed, but a great brunch is amazing. Breakfast food is. I like breakfast for dinner. Last night I had eggs and sausage for dinner.
Wow, that's twice then for you.
Yeah, I
yesterday,
know.
because we all went to breakfast together.
Yeah, and yesterday I had a meal that had grits, home fries, bacon, eggs, and there was something else there. That's an amazing
Are you
meal.
a farmer now? What are you eating? That's all you ate
It was called the
yesterday.
Abe Lincoln breakfast.
Yes, I know. I was sitting next to you. I
Yeah.
didn't realize you continued that once we all parted ways.
I love breakfast food. I love I put bacon in every meal if I could. Are you a bacon person?
I think the smell's better than the taste.
Oh gosh.
Smelling.
I like turkey bacon.
Oh my!
See, I'm never going to get invited back to fill in for Bogues now.
no,
Wait,
you're
dry
invited.
pancakes and turkey bacon?
Yeah.
You understand this is quite against the grain.
You're invited back to the show. Just I can't promise you any breakfast invite.
Well,
I'll just
you
bring
can
my
come to
plain
breakfast. You're
pancakes
just
with me,
not
that's
making breakfast for us because nobody wants.
Yeah, that's true. We don't mind what you order. It was fun yesterday. Because of the time of the show, we can't really do happy hours, unless you guys want to start drinking at 10:30 in the morning, in which case I could be persuaded. We have to do breakfast around here.
Okay.
So that's what we did yesterday, and I think it went well. I didn't know Perloff was going to eat.
I
two
would have
breakfasts.
spoiled the party, I guess.
Yeah, that
Just
would have
by
been
yourself.
Would have been sad. We could do a boozy brunch on a Friday,
Yeah, we could.
but
Definitely.
that's really a weekend thing. I don't think there were a lot of people. We were at a high end breakfast place. There's no one really drinking at all.
Also-
Everybody had green juice.
Boozy breakfast. There was vodka in there. No, I'm just kidding. Boozy breakfast, though, it's like you really got to clear your schedule for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Because once
yeah.
you start drinking before 11 a.m., you're not getting anything done. Unless you are that rare person who puts a little Baileys in your coffee or something. But you kind of have to just say, like, this day, I'm not doing anything.
That is wise self-help. So you're saying don't get hammered before 11 if you hope to have a productive day.
Listen, follow me for more tips. Okay.
There's that song by Little Big Town, Day Drinking. So, I mean, it's got to be, I would think people drink for breakfast.
Oh, yeah, kegs and eggs. I mean, we've all dabbled.
If you want to be at your optimal at work, best not to go in the bathroom and down a flask of vodka. That is from Maggie Gray herself. I mean, it got her through her 20s. Don't get me wrong.
CBS Sports Minute.
I know. They call me a guru. Quickly before we get to the headlines with Peter, a big change coming to the San Francisco 49ers, and they've lost 3 straight. Perloff, the defense has not looked like itself. So yet again, we get a coordinator who's going to be coming out of the booth and now down to the field. Steve Wilks, the defense coordinator, is going to be on the field when they come off their bye week and go to Jacksonville this weekend.
I actually have an even better move. How about Steve Wilks comes out of the booth, down the field, out the exit. Robert Saleh comes back in that exit, gets on the field, and coaches this defense because it's clearly – after the Dallas game, it's not the same defense that it's been under DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh. They just don't look as aggressive. Maybe that's, maybe it's not a scheme thing. It's an energy thing because that's the only explanation I can come up with.
First, Perloff says that Peter doesn't look like he's skipping any breakfast. Then he tells Steve Wilks to come out of the booth, go down to the field, get in his car, and drive away. You are really on one today.
Well, I mean, DeMeco Ryan, is that the biggest loss of the offseason? The San Francisco, it's confusing.
Not through the first 5 games because
they were incredible against Dallas. They can't. People figured out they can't stop the run, and if you stop their run, they can't hold on to the ball, and the defense is out there more. Because I've been sort of lauding them as a Super Bowl team, and now I don't know. What does this move do? Explain this kind of thing to me.
Okay, so I've been hard on the 49ers because I did not think Brock Purdy was an MVP candidate. I thought that was crazy to be talking about that, and I did think they looked vulnerable. I applaud this move. I applaud when teams do whatever it takes. If this helps you 2%, the Steelers thought that Matt Canada, they thought they got some kind of, tangible benefit of him coming down from the booth. Do whatever you can. If he was on the sideline, put him up in the booth. If he's up in the booth, put him down the sideline. You got to figure this out because the 49ers can't afford to have this losing streak continue.
Yep.
If we're going to take them seriously. They also are going to get Deebo Samuel back.
That's huge. That'll help the defense in an enormous way. They haven't been able to play complementary football. Deebo gives you first downs.
Trent Williams did not practice yesterday, so we're not sure about the left tackle. And you get Chase Young. You made a change at the deadline. You brought in Chase Young. Like they're doing everything. Seems like they're doing everything possible. They're leaving no stone unturned.
You know what? To me, the biggest concern, and this is totally random, Fred Warner does not look anything like the player that was there last year. He's not chasing down the run. He's not affecting the quarterback. He was a defensive player of the year guy. If you watch the Niners now, they're killing that level of the field where the linebackers are. It's total bizarro football. I blame Steve Wilks. We'll see. I expect them to fix this anyway. I still think they're going to be a 12-win team, 11-win team. What are they, 5-3 now? They're still going to win a bunch of games. But Steve Wilks, I mean, you don't follow DeMeco Ryans. It's very hard, who's clearly an outstanding coach. And all of a sudden your defense isn't aggressive. This is going to come down on him.
In the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio or twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. Our pal Michael in California has some advice. Grandma always said that you can't say you drank all day if you don't start in the morning. Now, that is a woman I would have liked to met. Peter's here. He's got headlines. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's start in Denver. Nuggets were clinging to a 3-point lead over the Warriors in the final second.
Reggie Jackson to win the game for Denver with 3.5 seconds to go at Ball Arena. Needs this free throw to do just that. Missed it. Rebound. They could tie it up with the 3. Paul over to Thompson. Got to shoot it. Oh, it fell out of his hands at the horn. And the Denver Nuggets sweep the 5-game homestand and remain undefeated at home.
That was the voice of Jason Kosmicki on Nuggets Radio. Nuggets over the Warriors 108-105. Head coach Michael Malone's team with another strong performance.
Couldn't be more proud of our group. I mean, I think 8-1 is our record, and we've played with a few other teams the most games in the NBA to this point. To be undefeated at home and to get off to the start that we've gotten off to is I couldn't be more proud of that group in there.
Nuggets are a perfect 6-0 at home. Nikola Jokic, 35 points, 13 rebounds. Now to Madison Square Garden, where first overall pick Victor Wembanyama made his first appearance on Broadway, and it did not go very well.
Brunson crosses the key, goes back out to the left elbow to kill some time. 8 seconds to go on the shot clock. Under 4, distant 3, drains it. 116-99 with 3:45 to go.
That was Don LaGreca on Knicks Radio. Knicks beat the Spurs 126-105. Jalen Brunson led the Knicks with 25 points.
They were chanting overrated. at
Yeah.
Wemby. I feel like
Ooh.
that's the kind of thing that comes around to bite you.
Were you there last night, Channing?
No, I would have. But you saw the game last night. Are you scared of Wemby right now? He looked very, very ineffective.
He's been up and down a little.
He's
bit.
19.
Yeah. Kind of lackluster, actually.
And there was Perloff back there holding up the sign.
No, I was in Brooklyn yelling Daryl Morey at James Harden.
It's a big night.
Daryl Morey.
Victor Wembanyama with just 14 points. He needs to bulk up a little bit. Maybe he should have a stack of pancakes.
Yeah, no syrup.
No syrup. There you go. NBA
He
score.
should have syrup.
Yeah, well, to each his own. Other games last night, you had the 76ers over the Celtics, 106-103. Joel Embiid at 27 points. The Wizards topped the Hornets, 132-116. Overtime in Chicago, the Suns over the Bulls, 116-115. Week 10 NFL beginning tonight with a great one in Chicago. The Bears hosting the Panthers. Bears quarterback Tyson Bagent looking ahead to the game.
Our preparation through this short week, done a great job as a team and as just an individual of getting the play call sheet all together, what we're looking for with everything. So feeling confident going into this game.
You know what's cool about Tyson Bagent is like, however this ends with the NFL stuff, we know what is going to happen next. His grandfather was an arm wrestler.
Oh,
His dad
okay.
is an arm wrestler. And eventually, I think he will go in the family business.
He's going to be on ESPN The Ocho in a couple of years.
I think he's got a 10-year career as a backup quarterback. Can you be a 10-year NFL player who goes into arm wrestling? I guess you could. There's no age limit.
You
right?
could have a side hustle. Why not?
And how old are arm wrestlers? Do
I
you
think it's
lose it in your
ageless.
third? It's not like NFL wide receiver when you're 31, you're washed
like
up.
a running back. I think it's like old man strength. You know,
I
as
think
you get
so.
older, I think you're still, strong.
Great underrated movie, in my opinion. Was
Don't say over the top.
Oh, I love that movie. What a great movie.
That's a great movie?
Yes, I think that's a great movie.
On the waterfront, over the top.
Yeah.
That's
I watched
1 and 1A.
I watched a Sylvester Stallone documentary on Netflix. It's the #1 movie on Netflix right now. They didn't even mention Over the Top. They went through all his movies, and they Sylvester put that one to the side.
Wait a minute, did he talk about the rivalry with Schwarzenegger?
Oh, yeah, big time. Although, he said, this was Sylvester's documentary compared to Arnold's, that his numbers were consistently better than Arnold's. I don't remember it that way. I thought Arnold was equal star, if not better.
Honestly, I think the only reason that Sly Stallone has a documentary is because Arnold had the documentary
100%.
and talked about his rivalry with Stallone.
Yeah, and Arnold was in the slide. They're good friends now, but they laughed.
Are they?
Yeah, they're best friends. They did the Expendables together.
I think it's frenemies.
I
They're
watched
still
this-
competitive.
No, he said that they were super competitive in the 80s and they started laughing about it in the 90s. I mean, they're quite old now. They're in their 70s. Do you think they're still?
No,
I think you
mean,
let that go.
If they were QB Brown, they'd just be right still 20
Yeah.
more years left in the career.
Arnold said one thing that was funny. He said, our big competition was who could hold the bigger gun in one arm. And I realized that's a signature of an 80s movie, that you had a machine gun that you were holding with one arm. Which is yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of steroids, in my opinion, going on there.
Kickoff tonight in
That's an
Chicago.
opinion. I think that's a fact.
Yeah.
8:15 Eastern time. Who thinks there's a chance that Al Michaels calls in sick?
This is, again,
Is there another play-by-play guy like on the ready in case Al Michaels calls in sick tonight?
he loves this. He's getting paid a to work a couple days a week. He's already a legend. We got to stop feeling bad for Al. He's doing just fine.
College football tonight, number 11, Louisville will host Virginia. Baseball yesterday, the Angels naming Ron Washington their new manager. Now to hockey in Las Vegas.
Right side, Petrangelo shot blocked. Byfield broke his stick, and there to clear it down. Empty net. A goal! Anjay Kopitar, the empty net goal for career goal number 400.
That was Nick Nixon on Kings Radio. Kings over the Golden Knights 4-0. There you go.
Peter, thank you so much. Coming up, of course, you're welcome to call in 855-212-4CBS. Perloff getting some support online for one of his takes from earlier about who the coolest athlete is in sports right now. We'll get that to you in just a moment. Also, the one person we did not realize we had beef with on this show, but apparently we do. So we'll get to that. Don't move. Lots more to do. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, morning show here on CBS Sports Radio. Now, earlier in the show, we kind of quite frankly, kind of stumbled into a conversation about who the coolest athlete is in sports right now because of Victor Wembanyama. Terrible night last night in Madison Square Garden, but impossibly cool dude. 7'5", fashionable.
Yeah. French.
Definitely the French part helps, but, speaks really good English and has this sort of mystique.
Yeah.
And he's the next thing. So that automatically kind of makes you cool. So we started doing our top 5 coolest athletes. And one of the ones that Perloff picked, we were pretty shocked. In fact, this is our shot of the day.
He shoots! He scores!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. It is not the shot of the day, is it? It is the shot of the day. Yes, it is. Perloff, surprise answer. Surprise to a lot of us.
I'm surprised to me that you're surprised.
Soak that up. About who one of the coolest athletes is in sports.
Number 3, I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the Lions. He is getting so much hype, and everybody loves him. He's a St. Brown, so he has this crazy backstory. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the emerging star in the NFL that
he's the third coolest athlete in the NFL and in sports. Rather.
I was either going to do Amon-Ra St. Brown or Puka Nacua. Those are I did want to do an NFL wide receiver. You did Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
But Shea is an all NBA second teamer.
Yeah, but
Puka Nacua, he's like a fantasy darling.
Puka Nacua is
he's a system guy. Sound like Perloff.
You went with the system argument?
I did. I've been sitting next to you for too long.
I obviously picked cool names. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka Nacua are 2 amazingly cool names. But I have numbers on Amon-Ra. He's leading the league in catches per game. He's 5th in yards per game. He's definitely a top 5 receiver on one of the best teams in the league. His name is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He speaks German and French, but this is what really took it over the top. I read this Jared Goff quote. Certain guys are different, and I want to make a comparison, but I don't want it to sound crazy. The way he is in the weight room and on the field are very similar in my experience with Aaron Donald. Like it's business, business, business. He works harder than everybody on the team. He is the star of this team. And guess what? Get ready for the Detroit Lions. They have this easy schedule. They're going to be the number 1 seed. And you're a Detroit Lions fan, too. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the breakout star of this team by far.
Listen, you can make a lot of money betting on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not going to fight you there. However, you said part of the criteria here was that when other athletes walk in the room, they want to get their picture taken with this person. So that's why I did people like Ohtani and Wemby and Joe Burrow.
Well, you're not going to want to get your picture with Jared Goff. You go in that Lions locker room, who's your guy? It may be Aiden Hutchinson.
But that's why Jared Goff isn't anywhere near this list.
But Aiden Hutchinson is not cool. Amon-Ra is really
That's why
cool.
Aiden Hutchinson is not anywhere near this list. We're talking about coolest people in sports, period.
Wembanyama speaks French. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the only player who speaks German, French, and English fluently.
Wait a minute. Wembanyama's from France. He doesn't get extra credit there for speaking French.
No, I'm just saying there is an international appeal. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the world's NFL player. Not only that, he is a fascinating guy. His numbers are unbelievable.
I'm sure Travis Kelce is now 100 times more famous amongst international
but there's
people.
Nothing cool, but he's dating the nerdiest woman in pop culture, and Taylor Swift. There's nothing cool about her.
She's about to start the South American leg of the tour.
My 10-year-old daughter thinks Taylor Swift is cool. There's nothing cool about her.
Well, youth is part of this. Meanwhile, do you see Travis Kelce is going to go to Argentina?
That is cool. I will admit that.
For the beginning of her tour. That is not an easy jaunt. I mean, I'm sure he's flying private or whatever, but getting to Argentina, that's a long trip. It's like isn't it like a 9-hour flight to get to Buenos Aires from the East Coast? Well, Midwest, I guess.
I don't know. Knowing how Ross St. Brown is a man of the world, I think he would probably do something like this.
Travis Kelce's kind of approaching Dennis Rodman levels of like where he's taking this relationship. I mean, I'm talking about the travel.
Going to Vegas in the middle of the finals.
Vegas in the middle of the finals. You know, we saw Travis Kelce going to New York, when they played on Thursday night. Now he's flying to, Argentina on a bye week.
Don't forget he was on the Philly sidelines for a Sunday night game.
Right, there was that too. Like, he's kind of really pushing the envelope here.
I'm going to be honest, like that, it's not your average like bye-week destination.
No.
I don't know how many guys are going to Buenos Aires or that's.
How long can he really be there?
Yeah, that's another one. You're going to get down there for 2 days. At least you don't have to really deal with the time difference. I think
you do have an advantage.
Lined up with the U.S.
Your coach is Andy Reid. He's 147-0 off a bye. So basically, he's got a guaranteed. They play the Eagles, but he's got a guaranteed win here. He'll be fine. Travis Kelce is defying all expectations. He's 34. He is not slowed down at all. Any player can do this. He can do this. I don't know how he does it, but he's doing it.
Also, as if like we're not already just, the Kelce's world and we're all living in it. Yesterday, we told you that Jason Kelce was a finalist for People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. Let that sink in. And then now, Travis Kelce is the #1 People Magazine's Sexiest Athlete alive.
Yeah, I don't see it.
This is a star turn for the Kelces that I just did not see coming.
Yeah, I think that whoever was making the list looked at the metrics of their podcast and wanted to get more bang for their buck here. And Travis Kelce, if he was not dating Taylor Swift right now, he probably would not have been #1 on this list.
You think? Definitely not.
The dude did have his own dating show. He was definitely in the People.
That was a joke, though.
Wait. The guy's pretty good looking, though.
He hosted Saturday Night Live before Taylor. He's always crossed over, and he was clearly going to be a movie guy. So there's a reason here. Actually, I'm looking at these pictures of people. He's a little sexy.
It's fine. It's just I didn't think it'd be 1 and 2 Kelce brothers.
Yeah, I think they jumped the shark with Jason.
Thank you.
Like you could have sold me on Travis, and we all understand what's happening with the Swift thing. But okay, he's kind of more conventional, good looking, tall, muscular, good bone structure. Jason, again, no disrespect to him, great guy it seems like. But you jumped the shark when you told me Jason Kelce was next to Jamie Foxx.
Same with those guys, EJ. What are you talking about? Exactly
but the thing is, I don't think of them. There are certain really good-looking athletes. I thought this list was not necessarily the best-looking athletes. Like, there's certain football players who look like models.
Right. I get that, but what is the sex appeal exactly about Jason Kelce?
Well, he's like a protector, a big teddy bear.
That's sexy?
Well, he's sexy in the husband kind of way. I've heard that. I don't know.
No, there's something like biological about women. Like when guys, there's like, this goes back to probably caveman days, cave woman days. There's something biological about that. Right. But yeah, like you still could find you might find a sexier lineman. Maybe not offensive, but like defensive.
Saquon Barkley?
No, offensive lineman, it's hard to find sexy offensive linemen.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think you could have gone with a pass rusher or something. Get the same vibe.
Is there supposed to be like a fantasy effect towards when you're talking about someone's sex appeal?
Yeah, right.
Like, I feel like Jason Kelce, I can go to Williamsburg tomorrow and find 10 of those at the bar.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what I said about this list. Steph Curry is Mr. Family Guy in the NBA. I don't feel like he perceives as sexy.
He's I would pick a
21. I'd pick a 21-year-old rising star who's not married yet to put on this list. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Steph Curry's not good looking, but I'll tell you, Kelly Oubre, the newest Sixer, he's a handsome man.
Yes, he is.
I know, but Mandy, you guys have a lot of opinions.
By the way, Mandy, you want to see a good looking? Google CeeDee Lamb with his helmet off. Whoa, is that guy good looking? He is scary good looking.
In the meantime, I did tease this. I wanna pay it off. I did not know that some people on this show, EJ, had some major beef with someone who I don't even think we've thought about this guy all that much, and that is Ryan Tannehill. We mentioned Ryan Tannehill is now going to be backing up Will Levis. No shocker there. And all of a sudden, EJ was out of his mind. Why do you have beef with Ryan Tannehill?
I was enraged in doing my preparation for this show, looking up stories, finding headlines, seeing one of the top ESPN headlines, Ryan Tannehill, quote, "It's hard being the backup quarterback now in Tennessee. Give me a break." This is the same guy last year who, when they drafted Malik Wilson, who was a third rounder, we're not talking about first round pick, we're not talking about somebody who's going to be right down your breath or right down your back in terms of, looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
And he was simply asked, would you be willing to, mentor him, help him along the lines? He said, it ain't my job to mentor that kid. And now this year, you struggle, you don't play well, you get hurt. Will Levis comes and throws in 4 touchdowns in his first game, and then you get benched, which was the least surprising thing ever. And then we got to hear you say, it's really hard being benched, and I'm going through it emotionally trying to figure this out. I mean, credit to him. It sounds like he's helping Will Levis out for now, but I could not believe that a guy who's been so mediocre for so long in his career, who's been lucky to be a starting quarterback for 10 seasons, had the nerve to say, yeah, it's hard being a backup at age 35 in a season where I can't stay healthy and I can't help my team win games.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, valid points, EJ. I just can't believe anyone's thought about Ryan Tannehill this much. You've given him more thought and oxygen, I think, than anybody.
I totally disagree with you. If your starting quarterback says it's easy to be benched, that means he's not competitive. This is the must-lie situation. Everybody has to say it's hard to be benched. If he did say that, he'd get murdered, not by you, but by everyone. If he said, "Oh, it's easy for me to be benched. I don't care. I'm getting $20 million a year," you have to say it's hard, right?
No, I don't. It's not about saying that it's easy. What you say is, yeah, you know what? I didn't play that great, but Will Levis, he's got a bright future. I'm really excited to work with him. And he did say some of those things. He was soft, but he did say some of those things.
I feel like you come off as not competitive if you say all those things. And I gotta say, the funny thing is, I've never heard anyone say Ryan Tannehill is anything but a nice guy.
No, but
he's like the most bland, nice guy in NFL history.
No, but the Malik Willis thing was a little odd. He's like, it's not my job to teach him the ropes. But he also did say he was like in a pretty dark place after the playoff loss to the Bengals because he threw 3 picks, I believe.
I got to tell you, the fact that Ryan Tannehill said that, guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, all of them immediately just ignore the backup for years, where at least Tannehill saying that was acknowledging, I don't know, he probably helped Malik Willis more than anybody did. He is not like this bad guy quarterback by any means.
No, I totally disagree. To me, that was complete loser energy. You're talking about a franchise that's been trying to find a guy, and you haven't been the answer. So, okay, you don't got to say, I'm not the answer, I suck, so therefore, please take my job. But once your time is coming, or when you see the team looking towards the future, you can say, I want to be a starter, I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to help this kid out as much as he can, and that's fine.
Like it's about the team, it's not about me.
But
he still always makes it about
that's
him.
Lip service. Yeah, I don't even believe guys who say that.
But also, the makeup of a Ryan Tannehill type of quarterback is different than Aaron Rodgers, than Tom Brady, guys you're mentioning. Like, Ryan Tannehill is a stopgap. Like, he's brought in with the understanding that eventually he's going to be replaced. Him having the attitude of, nobody's coming for this job and I'm not helping any of these young kids that come in here, that is bozo energy.
How about this? How much total career earnings do you think Ryan Tannehill's made? 8 seasons in Miami, 5 seasons in Tennessee.
180?
$200 million.
220.
123.
How many times has he made the playoffs?
Not much.
No, I think he's pretty good. I think his wins.
How many wins does he have in the playoffs? I would say, does he have 1?
Didn't it? So
2?
he wasn't there on the conference title team. I think he's had actually a shockingly.
He's 2-3 in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, so he's made the playoffs.
All with Tennessee, because Miami, they made the playoffs, but he was hurt. I believe it was Matt Moore who started against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes.
I understand what you're saying, EJ, but I do think any quarterback who says, "Oh, I'm okay getting benched," that's not good.
It's not about saying I'm okay without being benched. It's that the first time you had a crack at this, you failed on the answer. Nobody thought that Malik Willis thing was cool. And then the second time you get a crack at it, you can't say I'm ready to help Will Levis without saying, it was really hard for me to be a backup. You're 35 years old. You started over 150 games. Come on. Give it up now. It's like he's the real Hubie Brown. We're talking about guys that should be willing to give it up.
You're a Jets fan. You have a million quarterbacks to hate. Why Ryan Tannehill?
I don't like guys who don't help out young people. That you send the elevator down, you got to bring the elevator back up.
Thank you, EJ Stewart, who is thinking about Ryan Tannehill more than anybody in the NFL. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan. To Peter Schwartz, helped us out today. Weedos and coffee drinkers, you guys, chef's kiss on point. We'll see you tomorrow.